presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are LA.
It's time for Angels Spring Training Baseball this afternoon from Tempe Diablo Stadium. The Angels get set to host the Milwaukee Brewers. A beautiful day here in the Valley. Not nearly as windy as it was yesterday here when the Angels posted a victory against a Giants split squad. Well, the Angels taking on the team that they faced in the opener of Cactus League play. Terry Smith along with Jose Mota. And Jose, this is kind of an interesting day for the Angels. It's just a spring training game, but maybe a little bit more. Matt Shoemaker makes his first start for the Angels in about 6 months. The last time we saw him, he suffered a fractured skull. He had brain surgery. He has a titanium plate inside his head. And boy, a lot of emotions today for him.
And all he wanted was to go out there and play baseball again. And Matt Shoemaker, as competitive as he is, has had to show a lot of patience through the years, especially this offseason, to make sure he passes Terry every single test. A tale of 2 seasons last year. He actually got demoted after a poor start, but he found it. Found command, found the splitter, found the ability to get ahead hitters and to finish them off with everything in his arsenal. Terrific job when a guy that knows he can go out there and get some big league hitters. Look at these numbers and how it all started for him. First 6 starts, ERA over 9, opponents hitting .336. After that, different story. 1.10 whip in his last 21 starts. He was dominant.
Jose had a chance to visit with Matt Shoemaker and his pitching coach, Charles Nagy.
Extremely happy and thankful, to be where I am with what happened. Could have been much worse, and like I said, super thankful everything worked out. God's great, man. It was a blessing to be where I am. Super excited to be here, ready to go, ready to play, right where I need to be for spring. They're getting ready in the off season, doing my workouts, my bullpens, my catch, right where I need to be.
Any hesitation whatsoever when you took the mound, knowing that there's balance or strength all combined to make sure you are on the right path?
Yeah, no, like I said, my workouts this offseason, going into my long toss, my bullpens, everything feels, normal, good. So going into each day was always a good step. It's like, hey, I feel normal, and that's important.
I think you'll be able to notice. I went through this with Brandon McCarthy in Arizona a few years back, and it's just getting out there that first game, and all of a sudden you'll have a ball hit close to you or something like that, and you just, whatever, it's just, getting over that hurdle. It's like when you come back from an injury, it's just all of a sudden it's going out and just trusting what happened before, but it's not going to happen again, and just going out there and just doing it. And Matt knows that, and that's all he's talked about. I just can't wait to get back out there and do it.
Well, it's going to be nice to see Matt Shoemaker on the mound today. Let's shift to offense, Jose. One player we're not going to see today. We've seen a lot of them this spring. That's newcomer infielder Luis Valbuena.
Boy, Terry, he is really fitting in nicely, and he always wanted to be an Angel. Now, Luis Valbuena is showing the Angels why he was a good addition as a free agent. Left-handed bat with some pop, ability to drive the baseball. A little tender today in one of his legs after this double, but boy, he shows up ready to play wherever they need him. Driving in some big runs so far, doing a better job staying in against lefties. And for Luis Valbuena, whom the Angels saw from the other side as an Astro, the numbers tell you how valuable he was with the Astros last year. Limited to 90 games because of a hamstring injury, but on-base percentage solid, over .350. And also, Terry, he has the ability to take a lot of pitches. 4.35 pitches per plate appearance tells you a lot about what he can do, not just for himself seeing pitches and driving, but what he does for the rest of the guys hitting behind him.
Well, the Angels are generating some buzz here in the Cactus League because of the quick start, 6-0 record, a lot of comeback victories, a lot of 2-out runs. All the wins have been by 2 runs or less, and so far it's been fun, Jose.
They've stolen 8 bases. They also have held the opponents to an average of .219. They have a 2.8 ERA collectively. The starters, the relievers, but mainly Terry in spring training, the second half of games has been fun to watch with the youngsters making some names for themselves and going out there and showing their abilities to play the game.
So the Angels and the Milwaukee Brewers are getting set for baseball. It's the return of Matt Shoemaker. He will be on the hill today. Junior Guerra gets the start for Milwaukee. We'll have the lineups and the start of the action coming up next on Fox Sports West.
A cool day here so far at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Welcome back to our broadcast. Jose Mota, Terry Smith on the Angels baseball simulcast as the Angels take on the Milwaukee Brewers. We see more and more of many Southern Californians making the trek on I-10, come to see their Angels here for the weekend. And for the Brewers, managed by Craig Counsell, beginning his third season, second full season for him at the helm with Milwaukee. He will have Keon Broxton, Keon Broxton is leading off in center field. Speedster out there. Jonathan Villar is at second base. All-star caliber player for them last year. Domingo Santana, a young, promising player, is batting third in right field. Travis Shaw makes the trip. Also, new face for them, coming over from the Boston Red Sox. Shaw is a designated hitter, batting fourth. Hernan Perez batting fifth at third base. Kurt Neuenhuis, former Angel for a short time, is batting sixth in left field. Jed Bandy, who got a nice ovation here from the crowd. Bandy is the catcher. He went on the trade to Milwaukee for Angels catcher Martin Maldonado. Bandy's bound to play batting seventh. Ivan De Jesus Jr. is playing first base, batting eighth. And Orlando Arcia, young shortstop, a lot of flash, he is batting ninth. As Matt Shoemaker and the Angels take the field, Mike Scioscia with Cameron Maybin leading off as a designated hitter. Cole Calhoun is batting second in right field. Mike Trout is in center, batting third. He's been perfect this spring. C.J. Cron has been swinging a hot bat, and he is batting fourth at first base. Danny Espinosa, switch hitter with some pop. Looking good so far. Espinosa at second base. Ben Revere has provided the Angels some speed, some good contact. He is batting sixth in left field. Carlos Perez, finalist for the Gold Glove last year behind the plate, is batting seventh. Cliff Pennington makes a start at shortstop now with Anderton Simmons joining Team Netherlands over in Korea for the WBC. Pennington getting a lot of looks. And batting ninth at third base is Caleb Coward for the Angels. Shoemaker and Perez. Terry, also congratulations to Yunel Escobar, who passes the test as a U.S. citizen.
Absolutely. He was in South Florida for all of that and should be back with the Angels here shortly, and now a new U.S. citizen. Matt Shoemaker is wrapping up his warm-up tosses. Want to remind you who's in and who's out. It's brought to you by In-N-Out Burgers. That's what a hamburger's all about. In the lineup for the Angels today, back out there in center field is Mike Trout. Cole Calhoun in the lineup for the Angels as well. As Jose mentioned, he'll be the right fielder. And a number of the other starters, the regulars, if you will, back in the lineup today. Danny Espinosa, Cameron Maybin, although he will be the designated hitter. So we are just about ready to go. Overcast here in the Valley. Angels red tops and also the white pants. And for the visiting Milwaukee Brewers, they have the dark blue tops, the gray pants. And their first batter up today is young center fielder Keon Broxton. 75 games for Milwaukee a year ago. So Matt Shoemaker getting ready to make his first pitch in about 6 months in a game, although an exhibition game here today. And I'm sure a little bit emotional for him as he's ready to work. And here's the first pitch of the ball game. It's right in there. We're underway. And it is 0-1 on Broxton.
Got the first one out of there. And Terry, just imagine the anxiety the whole family is feeling at this point, and also how glad they are to see him back on that field, healthy.
And the next delivery, that's cut on, foul back behind the plate. The excitement at game time feels as refreshing and delicious as Stella Rosa wines. Time to celebrate. Find Stella Rosa wines at Angel Stadium and your favorite retailer. First pitch back home at 12:10 this afternoon, right on time. And the game time temperature today is 77 degrees. And the next delivery, that one is waved at and missed. He got him, and Shoemaker looked like he had that split working for the strikeout. VR is the batter. Jonathan Villar, switch hitter. And the second baseman, a lot of speed. And his package, 62 stolen bases a year ago. That was tops in the majors. Infield for the Angels at the corners in. Coward at third base and the first baseman Cron, and there's a one hopper in between Cron and Espinosa, and that's a one out single for VR. So we'll see if he might be on the move And Domingo Santana will be the next batter.
All-star caliber player Jonathan Villar. Very aggressive with the bat. Played some winter ball and immediately provides a threat to Matt Shoemaker on the base paths. Shoemaker feeling quite well, knowing he's got to go out there and mix his moves with somebody like Villar. And this will immediately keep Mike Scioscia and Carlos Perez with that communication line open.
So here is Domingo Santana, right fielder, just 24 years old. Played in 77 games for Milwaukee a year ago. Hit .256, has some power, 11 home runs. There's a throw over to first base, and jumping back to the bag goes Villar.
Matt Shoemaker, 16 quality starts last year for the Angels. Got off to a rough start. In fact, he had a very rough preseason last year when he was part of the rotation coming out of camp. He allowed 9 preseason home runs.
Overall, a year ago, 18 homers in the regular season in his 27 starts. Shoemaker ended up pitching 160 innings last year for the Angels. Paying attention to Villar, the base runner, in the next delivery. That's hit sharply, but a foul ball down the left side. So the count is now no balls and 1 strike.
No attempt to run there by Villar, but for sure with the speed that he has, and Shoemaker allowing 12 out of 16 base stealers to be successful. It's a matchup the Brewers have to like.
Infield is playing it at double play depth. Shoemaker taking some time between pitches. Now has the sign from his catcher. Villar looked like he was going to go, then put on the brakes. Might have stumbled a little bit, and the pitch missed for a ball. The top of the first inning. It's brought to you by Rennick Subaru. For Subaru, don't forget the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Think Rennick first. R-E-N-I-C-K. Shoemaker bluffing a toss over to first base. Villar, who is the base runner over there, came to the Brewers from the Astros. Santana, who's batting, another player who came over to Milwaukee from Houston. And there's a tie-in as to why there are some former Astros here. Here's a pickoff toss. The ball skips away from Cron, and hustling up to second base without a relay up there will be the base runner Villar. So he does advance. The throw a little bit low. It skipped off the glove of Cron and then started to roll away from the first base bag. Talking about the connection between the two players here that are kind of forcing some action. Villar, the base runner, at second, and Santana, the batter. David Stearns was named the general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers at the end of the 2015 season, and he's a former assistant GM with the Astros. And thus he acquired some players he was familiar with when he came over here. The next delivery, it's lifted high in the air, and that ball was hit well into left field, and that one is gone. That part of the lawn area behind the wall in left field. That's a 2-run homer for Santana. And the Milwaukee Brewers have an early 2-0 lead. Well, you were talking about Shoemaker a year ago. He had some trouble here in Arizona with the home run ball.
Domingo Santana putting a charge into this one. And the guy, as you mentioned, came from the Astros. He had the reputation for the scouts of being a guy that kind of pushed the ball way too much inside out to the right side. Just did not allow himself to get extended. Now, with a foul ball we saw down the line, and his hands a little close to his body, and they're emphasizing throw the barrel. Well, he's getting the idea of what throwing the barrel can do for him.
Travis Shaw at the plate, and the first pitch to him, a ball to count 1-0. Angels have a shift on the right side. 3 infielders there. Cowart, the lone fielder on the left side. There's a ball. It's hit well down the right field side. Down in that right field corner. It will go foul. So 1 ball, 1 strike on Travis Shaw. Defensively today, C.J. Cron at first for the Angels. Danny Espinosa, the second baseman. Caleb Cowart at third. Cliff Pennington is the shortstop. Ben Revere plays left. Mike Trout in center. Cole Calhoun in right. Catcher Carlos Perez. DH Cameron Maben. Pitcher 30-year-old right-hander Matt Shoemaker. Here's the 1-1, and that's a low and inside. The Brewers this spring in 6 games, 2-4. And they're coming off a loss yesterday in Peoria against Seattle, and were beaten 6-2. Milwaukee, they haven't been scoring a whole lot of runs so far in the Cactus League. In fact, in their last 3 games coming into today, they had scored 8 runs in those 3 games, but they've gotten a pair on the board here in the first inning.
Yeah, Craig Counsell happy with the elements he has now and the ones they've added to provide some offense.
And on the 3-1 pitch, that missed ball 4. So Shoemaker, after striking out the first batter today, has yet to retire one since. 2 on the board and a runner at first, 1 out for Hernan Perez.
Well, Terry, the big story, of course, is Matt Shoemaker back on the mound, and we all remember that day in Seattle, that line drive coming off the bat of Kyle Seager at 105 miles per hour struck him in the head after 1 1/3 innings. But today, what we're seeing so far here, through 12 pitches, there's no recoiling whatsoever, no fear when contact has been made, and he has been doing a very good job on his follow-through, which is, as Charles Nagy was telling me early in camp, that's your first thought. And Mike Scioscia is saying the same thing on guys that he caught, that he has to go out there and remind, hey, let it go. I know it's a little scary. You don't want to go through that again, but certainly no recoiling, because eventually that will cost you the quality of your pitches.
First one to Perez, he fouled it back. Here's the 0-1 delivery. Chopped on the third base side. Could be 2. Flipped to second. Relay on to first. The double play, and that's how the inning went. So Shoemaker gets the double play ball, and in the inning, Milwaukee gets 2 runs on 2 hits. He had a walk. There were no errors and nobody left. After half inning, Brewers lead the Angels 2-0 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Fans, don't forget to get your red on and become a season seat holder to enjoy exclusive benefits and the same seats all season long at the greatest value. Visit angels.com/season seats or call 714-4ANGELS for more info. So the first batter for the Angels today will be Cameron Maybin. Maybin yet to get a hit so far in Cactus League play. DHing here this afternoon, so he will face Junior Guerra, 32-year-old right-hander, 6 foot even, goes about 230 pounds, and he's ready. Here's his first delivery. That one a little bit high and away. It misses ball 1.
You were talking about he was a converted position player. Of course, still looks like a converted position player out there.
Yep. He was a very pleasant surprise last year for Milwaukee. He had a sub-3 ERA. And he has a good arm. Fastball topped out around 96. Very good splitter. Throws a slider.
Both guys on the mound today had to go through a lot to get to the big leagues in terms of perseverance and believing in what they had in those arms.
Here's the 1-1 on Maybin, and that's right in there for a called strike.
Guerra's first start in the big leagues came against the Angels last May 3rd in Milwaukee. It was a Brewers win. Guerra got the win. Going 6 innings.
Maybin trying to hold up on that one and goes around, struck him out. So that's how the Milwaukee top of the inning started off with a strikeout to their leadoff man. Angels leadoff batter set down. Here's Cole Calhoun.
Also, both pitchers have a very good splitter. And Guerra a little shorter than Matt Shoemaker. Is a little more compact. Very quick arm. And for pitching independent baseball, pitching in Mexico, pitching in Italy, he says he uses every single piece of information from every league to apply here in the big leagues. And, of course, why not?
Yep. He's been through a lot. Here's the pitch that's fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. The Brewers got Guerra off the waiver wire from the White Sox, and that was back in September of 2015.
Somebody did a fabulous job scouting him and saying, you need to claim this guy.
Yeah, for sure. 15 years in professional baseball, but not a whole lot at the major league level. And the pitch, and that one misses low. 1-1 is the count on Cole Calhoun.
When he saw the Angels back in Milwaukee, he faced Escobar, he faced Trout, he faced Pujols. Calhoun was in the lineup. Simmons, Carlos Perez, Pennington.
Here's the next pitch. This is skied in the air into shallow center field. A lot of players are converging, but it's the center fielder Broxton who takes charge and makes the catch. That will be out number 2. Guerra is making his second appearance this spring. He pitched a scoreless inning in his first outing for Milwaukee. And the batter now is Mike Trout. Haven't seen a whole lot of Trout so far this spring, but in the cameo appearances, if you will, we've seen a lot of good things. Nobody's retired him yet.
He has been Mike Trout. Still having a great time playing the game as always. Joyful. Happy to be on that field.
Here's the pitch on its way, and the first one is right in there for a called strike. This Junior Guerra, he broke into professional baseball in 2006, got to the big leagues for the very first time in 2015. And there's one that's low, and he pitched briefly for the White Sox that year, and then last year burst onto the scene, a late bloomer with a 9-3 record and 20 starts, ERA 2.81 for Milwaukee. There's the next delivery, and that one is low.
Mike Trout saying how good he feels in terms of loading up and being on time. And he has hit the ball hard to every single part of the field, which is, of course, no surprise.
2-1 pitch. Hit that one foul up the end of the bat, back behind the plate. So the count level on Trout. 2-2. Mike Trout got engaged in the offseason.
He did. Happy man.
His high school sweetheart. There's a pitch that misses low on him. So he takes ball 3, and now it's a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
One of the early questions he faced, of course, how was your offseason? He goes, well, I was quite busy, and of course, thankful for another MVP award. But he goes, a lot of wedding planning. I consumed a lot of time.
His fiancee Jessica, and the pitch, and that one is fouled off on the third base side, just a foot or so off the line. And I'm sure during the course of the season we'll see Mike's parents either at the Big A or on some of the road trips. His father, Jeff, a former professional ball player who played in the minors, and Mike Trout's mom, Debbie. Bump into them all the time during the course of the season.
Always extremely supportive.
Here's the payoff, and Trout is on again with a walk. So he still has yet to be retired so far this spring.
That's what he's talking about. He's on time with that foot, hands, back weight. Everything is loading up extremely well. Thus why he's getting his walks, hitting the ball hard, fouling off or scoring tough pitches. But again, I sound like I'm talking in July, right?
Right. So we'll see if Trout might be on the move. It's 2-0 Milwaukee. We're in the bottom of the first inning. The Brewers got a first inning 2-run homer from Domingo Santana. C.J. Cron is at the plate. He's had hits in the last 3 games he's played in this spring, and the pitch that's low and outside on him.
Well, here's one thing. The Angels know a lot about the guy behind the plate. That is Jed Bandy. So Bandy and the Jets are here, Terry. Mike Trout knows about Jed Bandy, throwing abilities or not, the way he squares up. And there's no need to not test him. See what he's got.
Here's the next pitch. Tapped on the first base side, rolling foul. And when the Brewers players arrived here in Tempe, they entered the stadium from down in the right field corner. There's a gate they can open up. Players come onto the field down in right field, and Bandy was seeing some of his former Angel teammates. A lot of handshakes and hugs. And as Jose mentioned, he got a nice round of applause when he was introduced as far as their lineup here.
A trek they're not used to entering that wall out there.
Yeah.
And continuing on to the third base dugout, but did a very nice job for the Angels.
Here's the next delivery on Cron. He takes that one a little bit inside. Looked like a fastball. 2-1 to count. They have Ivan De Jesus Jr. playing first base. Jonathan Villar at second. Hernan Perez at third. Orlando Arce is the shortstop. Kirk Neuenhuis in left. Keenan Broxton in center. Domingo Santana in right. Jed Bandy catching. Travis Shaw DHing, and Junior Guerra ready for the 2-1 pitch. And this one is hit well in the left center field, but chasing after it and making the running catch in the gap is Neuenhuis, the left fielder. The inning is over. Sounded like it might have gone a little bit longer than that, but nice play by Neuenhuis. Good read off the bat. Top of the second we go here in Tempe. It's 2-0 Milwaukee. First batter up for the Brewers is Kirk Nieuwenhuis, and Shoemaker's first pitch missed for ball one. Nieuwenhuis, Bandy, and DeJesus, the batters for the Brewers. Swing and a miss at the next one. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Milwaukee already getting some action in their bullpen, so we'll see if Guerra's only going to go 1 inning for them today. And here's the next pitch. That's fouled back behind the plate. This copyrighted broadcast presented by Authority of Angels Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of today's game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer engineer Jorge Sevilla with you from Tempe Diablo Stadium. There's the next pitch, and that's a fastball that misses.
That's a pretty good pitch, and one pitch that Matt Shoemaker will insist on in the regular season until he eventually gets it. Quinn Wilcott behind the plate today.
2-2 delivery. Lifted in the air into left center field. Mike Trout has a shot at it. He'll make the running catch, and that'll be the first out. So Nieuwenhuis retired to the opposite field. Jet Bandy will be the batter. 70 games with the Angels a year ago. Hit .234. 26-year-old catcher, right-handed batter, and he has a chance to log some playing time this year for the Brewers.
He certainly does. We know the power is there. He can absolutely score a baseball, and in that ballpark, it can be quite convenient as he spreads the ball from line to line. Did a much better job hitting the ball the other way as the season progressed as a big leaguer. But quite happy for a guy like Jet getting this opportunity here.
Here's the pitch, and he lines that one on the left side. A foul ball. Not by much. Hit hard. Low liner. 1-1 to count on Bandy.
Well, think about it, Terry. Because of Bandy's progress, the Angels were able to get an established catcher, Martin Maldonado.
Bandy will battle Andrew Susek. He's one of the catchers who was with the Brewers a year ago. And here's the pitch. That one is low. Of course, they had Lucroy and Maldonado here for Milwaukee for a number of seasons, and now both are gone. So that catching spot is wide open. Two-one pitch on Bandy. He takes that one inside. Now it's a 3-1 count. Shoemaker in the first inning gave up a couple of hits and a walk. One of the hits, a 2-run homer by Santana. Matt also was able to see a double play turn behind him, and on the 3-1, that one against Bandy is up and in for ball 4. So he has a 1-out walk. Shoemaker has faced 7 batters. That's the second walk he's allowed. So he's been a little bit off here in his first appearance this spring, and DeJesus Jr. will be the next hitter.
Well, Jet Bandy has an idea as to what some of these fastballs or splitters are going to do coming out of the hand of a guy that he caught for so many years, especially a lot of time in the backfields in minor league camp before they both got to the big leagues. Shoemaker and Bandy.
So Ivan DeJesus Jr., who was with the Reds a year ago, reserve player for them, is the batter, and the first pitch, that one is low. He's a guy the Brewers have to make a decision on, coming over from another club, and he's out of options, so they'll take a long look at him. He can play a lot of positions. Today he's playing first base. He can really play any of the infield positions.
Very true. Great bloodlines. His father, a solid major league player for so many years, Ivan DeJesus Sr.
Yep. Very good big league shortstop
out of Puerto Rico.
Pitch was in there. The count even on him. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Junior here has the ability to get on top of a fastball. Strong top hand.
Matt Shoemaker's next delivery. That's a liner right at the second baseman. DeJesus' throw got away from Cron as they tried to double the runner off at first. Bandy stays at first base, but boy, when the ball was caught by Espinosa, it sure looked like the Angels were going to get a double play out of it. I'm not really sure what happened there.
Well, it seems like the throw from Espinosa, of course, was right in line with where the runner was retrieving. You can see Cron did not get a good look at it. It's tough when you have the second baseman coming in, and you, as hard as Espinosa throws the baseball, and with some little zip and extra he has, sometimes sidearm, sometimes just dropping it a little bit more. I can see where C.J. Cron perhaps didn't see it very well. Terry, he was rated with the strongest arm velocity-wise from shortstop last year in the National League.
There's a pitch a little bit low. They have put an error on the board.
There should not be an error there because the runner did not advance. In the old days, without the railing, that ball rolls into the dugout. Then we're talking about an error because the runner had advanced.
So the batter here is Arcia. And here's the pitch, and that one is a called strike on the outside corner. Yeah, what's the old rule of thumb? You can't assume a double play. That one might be revisited.
Just put a 0 up there. That's all they need to do and clear the air. And Shoemaker stands at 28 pitches.
2 outs in the inning, and the next delivery, it's bounced foul over on the left side. Orlando Arcia, the batter.
Shoemaker, a tale of 2 seasons. Last year, 27 starts, 9-13 record, 3.88. But after 6 starts, he was 1-5 with a 9.12 ERA, where the opponents were hitting against him .336. His last 21 starts, he went 8-8. ERA dropped to 2.93. And at one point, as we were talking about yesterday, he got demoted to the minor leagues.
He did. Here's the pitch. It's low. The ball not handled by the catcher, Perez. He did block it, and breaking up for second base is Bandy, and he beats the throw.
It's a good job at first base by the runner, Bandy. And he knows anytime he sees a catcher with a ball in the dirt rolling, looking at him, next thing the catcher has to do is, after a good secondary, find the baseball, which gives you half a step or so. Bandy, not the fastest of guys, did an excellent job there with a secondary lead.
So the wild pitch moving the runner up to second. 2-2 count. And here's the next delivery, and that's waved at and missed. Got him with a splitter right there, struck him out, and that's how the inning went. And that's probably it for Matt Shoemaker, and a little better inning here in inning number 2. Moving the runner on at second base. We're headed to the bottom of the second inning. It's 2-0 Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. In the bottom of the second inning, Danny Espinosa will step up to the plate for the Angels, who trail 2-0. Espinosa, Revere, and Perez. For Danny Espinosa, his first time up today. Switch hitter, batting from the left side against the right-hander Junior Guerra. And here's the delivery. That one is right in there for a called strike. They have a bit of a shift on with Espinosa batting, although they do have 2 infielders on each side. But the shortstop Arcia is shaded towards second. The third baseman Perez is about halfway between third base and second base. So they're not really thinking that Espinosa is going to hit the ball the opposite way. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Danny. And here's the next pitch. That one is a little bit low in today's ball game, and Matt Shoemaker's probably done for the day. The Angels are expected to pitch Houston Street. He's yet to pitch in a Cactus League game so far. Andrew Bailey is slated to pitch, and he's yet to throw in a Cactus League game. Here's the next delivery, and that one is taken by Espinosa for ball 3. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
As we were talking about the error on the board there, was Matt Shoemaker's error in that first inning on the errant pickoff throw when Villar advances second base.
The Angels do have Houston Street warming up, so it looks like he will be coming in next inning. Here's the next pitch, and that one is bounced foul over on the right side.
They're implementing a little different type of shifting here by manager Craig Counsell. In the middle of the at-bat, according to the count, he has now, the pitch before this, has sent his third baseman way over in short right field.
So they do have 3 on the right side now, just 1 fielder on the left side. It's a full count.
All based on a 3-1 count.
Next pitch, and this one is lined on the right side and caught.
And he was right.
So that was Villar who made the catch on that one, the second baseman. And boy, he was in a perfect spot right there. Ball hit right out.
Great job. Even if you're playing straight up at second base, left-handed hitter, especially 3-1, 3-2, that ball is not going to be caught. So great job, Milwaukee Brewers, and setting the alignment there defensively.
Yeah, they got all kind of paperwork. Their coaching staff seated outside their dugout near the on-deck circle on the third base side.
So might as well put it to use.
That's right. Those charts factoring into the positioning of the players, and they were positioned properly for Milwaukee. There's one that's low and inside on Ben Revere. First time up for Revere. He's had hits in 3 of 4 games since the Cactus League got underway. 3 of the 4 games he's appeared in. And the pitch. He grounds that one by the mound, but right out near second. Villar has it. Throw a little bit low, but handled by De Jesus, and that'll be the second out. 2 up, 2 away. Carlos Perez, the catcher, the next batter.
No matter what, Terry, how good it was, the story continues to be Matt Shoemaker back on the mound. Happy to be on there. Teammates all waiting for him when he came back after that last half inning. So a guy that, of course, maybe a little overamped, as he would admit himself. But just the flow and the delivery, it's all we wanted to see. And I know Mike Scioscia wanted to see, and the way he threw the ball and the way he followed was extremely important.
Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the case of Matt Shoemaker, I'm sure he feels like, I'm back. I've overcome another hurdle.
Exactly. At contact, no flinching whatsoever. Just step number 1. Pass, check.
There's the next pitch inside. It misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. Carlos Perez, 26-year-old Angel catcher, hit just .209 a year ago. Cliff Pennington would be up next if the inning continues. It's 2-0 Brewers here in the second, and there's a hard hit ground ball but foul over on the left side. Crowd is pretty good here today. This might be well, certainly the best crowd here in this 3-game homestand. The Angels did play a home game here last Saturday against Milwaukee and had a little bit over 6,000 for that ball game. Not sure if we have quite that many today, but we'll find out.
Always good to see the new faces showing up now that the weekend is upon us and making that trip down the I-10 to see their Angels here for the weekend. Tyler Skaggs scheduled to throw tomorrow against the White Sox in Glendale, and then Garrett Richards will be on the mound for the Angels, making also his first start in the spring.
Here's the next pitch. This ball's hit well into center field. A long run after it, but running it down is the center fielder Broxton. He retires Carlos Perez, and that'll do it for the Angels. Perez got good wood on it, but he is out number 3, and after 2 innings, it is 2-0. And here in the 3rd inning, the Angels will make a pitching change, so Matt Shoemaker's day is over. We'll give you his numbers in just a moment, and Houston Street's day is ready to begin. Street had a disappointing season for the Angels a year ago, and it was the worst season in his major league career. ERA was almost 6.5. His save percentage was 75%. You'd like it to be a lot better than that. And he worked only 22 1/3 innings.
It all started with a bad oblique, and from there on, it all went south. Ended with a bad knee.
So he's ready to face the leadoff man Broxton in the first pitch. That's on the outside corner for a called strike. I want to remind you to join the Angels for spring training at Tempe Diablo Stadium. March the 24th, the Angels will take on the Seattle Mariners. Fans will enjoy a post-game concert by Gavin DeGraw. You can visit angels.com/promotions to purchase your tickets today. Next pitch of ball, it's 1-1. And here's the next one on Broxton. He chases that pitch, swings and misses it for strike 2.
Houston Street extremely methodical on how he likes to prepare for the regular season. He ended up losing to over 20 pounds. He says he put a lot of time in working out, conditioning, and everything else to get ready for this season.
Here's the next pitch, and that's a one-hopper through the left side of the infield. It'll roll out to Ben Revere. Sharply hit leadoff single for Broxton.
Of course, There's talk of the fight for late innings and who's going to end up with which role. And Houston knows it. Cam Bedrosian is pushing. Andrew Bailey re-signed as a free agent. All become armed for late innings option for Mike Scioscia. And Houston says, Terry, welcome it. He's pulling for those guys to do well too. But he knows the mission is in front of him to go out there and get reestablished again.
There goes the runner. The pitch is high. The throw down is second, and waiting with the tag is Pennington, and Carlos Perez easily guns down Keenan Broxton. Boy, the Angel catchers have been terrific here in the first week of games in the Cactus League, throwing out would-be base stealers.
They continue, and only add to the smiles that Mike Scioscia has been flashing all throughout the spring. Carlos, great position with his body, arm strength, accuracy, and mainly the pop time. It's outstanding from glove to glove.
1-0 pitches inside on VR. It's now 2-0.
And just like that, because of these catchers the Angels have added. And Maldonado, Carlos Perez, of course, Briseño, the youngster, has looked very well. All builds confidence for that guy on the mound in shortening innings.
Here's the next pitch, and that's taken for a strike.
What was Villar doing?
It looked like he was ready for that last pitch.
He had the bat in front of his body as he's taking the pitch.
And the next delivery, that's in there for a strike, so it's 2-2.
Still a kid's game. Keep it that way.
Well, if you're going to try and get a hit, it always helps to have the bat back instead of in front of you.
Had Easton thrown the ball and hit the bat in front of him, that's a fair ball if it squares it in front of the plate.
There's a pitch a little bit low. One thing about these Milwaukee batters and VR, the same case as Broxton, who led the inning off with a hit. They have the protective flap in front of their jaw as they bat, kind of the Jason Hayward type of batting helmet. Here's one bounce foul over on the right side. A lot of times a player that suffers some sort of an injury, maybe hit by a pitch, side of the face, he'll go to that type of protective device on the helmet. The first two batters in their lineup go with that type of helmet.
But we saw Yaniel Escobar try it last year for getting hit. And he said, boy, it just couldn't do it. Get used to it.
There's a 3-2 delivery that's chased and missed, struck him out. So that's the second out here in the inning. The numbers on Matt Shoemaker, the starter, 2 innings. He allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, walked 2, and also struck out 2. 33 pitches thrown by Shoemaker today.
And now they're going to go check on Houston Street.
Well, that is not a good sign right now. So Street, who had the knee problem last year, he had an oblique problem last year.
That's what he told me. It all started with the oblique. Just threw him off. And not exactly the way that the Angels wanted to see his spring begin, not the way Street wanted to see it begin either.
It's going to leave the game. The Angels concerned about some sort of injury issue, and that is not a good sign at all right there, especially for a guy who worked out a lot this past off season, dropped about 15 pounds, and he is headed to the clubhouse. So we'll see who comes in to take over in relief. Street faces 2 batters today in his Cactus League debut. So we'll see who will be coming in an emergency role here as we get ready now to continue this inning. We'll be in a little bit of a delay. Whoever comes in will see. The Angels have about 9 pitchers or so on the board today, so it's not an issue as to you don't have too many choices. You got plenty of choices. We'll see who the Angels bring in. We'll take a break and be back with more Angels baseball here in the 3rd inning. Milwaukee leading at 2-0. Pitching change coming up on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels will bring in right-hander Abel De Los Santos, and right now he's just playing catch. He's actually throwing from behind the pitcher's mound, playing catch with Carlos Perez. So we're going to be in a little bit of a delay here as the Angels are forced to make a pitching change. Houston Street threw just 11 pitches today in his first game this spring, and has been lifted because of some sort of an injury. And when we find out, we'll let you know. But before we tell you a little bit more about De Los Santos and talk about Street, who has left the game, let's pause for stations to identify themselves here on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer-engineer, Jorge Sevilla. Well, De Los Santos loosens up. Angels manager Mike Scioscia seated over near the Angels on-deck circle. He's conversing with columnist and television political analyst George Will, who is here today. He is a huge baseball fan. He's gotten to know Mike Scioscia over the years. And Jose, he might be the only person in the stands today that's wearing a long sleeve white dress shirt and a tie.
And it's not bad. He's representing very well. He's had a busy TV season, let's say it that way, too.
That's right. A lot of things to talk about on the political side over the last, well, year or so.
He's been, of course, you mentioned, a big baseball fan, and he is the author of that great book, Men at Work, years ago, in which he established so many things and presented so many things from the way Tony La Russa ran his business with the Oakland Athletics, and eventually went on to the St. Louis Cardinals and a few championships.
Well, Jose, to see Street leave after facing just 2 batters,
not good.
I don't know if you'd say it's alarming, but it certainly is not what you were hoping. I mean, we were just wondering how Matt Shoemaker was going to do today, and things went fine for him, and Houston Street now has to be a concern, and hopefully whatever the injury was that forced him to leave the ball game. I don't know if it was arm related, but he's had obviously the knee issue, and he's had groin problems and oblique problems in recent years. To see him leave with just 11 pitches today, not what you were hoping to see from him.
And on his face, pure disappointment, if you'd expect.
Yeah,
he's been, I mean, thoroughly every morning on a program for strengthening, for stretching, and as he mentioned, very proud of the weight that he lost, trying to reclaim his job, and for sure not the way the Angels or he wanted to see things going here. So no matter what, sir, it could be something that perhaps is not too serious, but from here on, what do you have to do? Be even more cautious if you're the Angels, and how you're going to utilize them and getting ready for the season.
So De Los Santos has wrapped up the warm-up tosses, and his delivery here on Santana, that one is fouled off on the left side. The count was 1-0 when he came in. It's now 1-1. He assumes this count. Santana, the batter, hit the 2-run homer off of Shoemaker in the first inning, and that has given the Brewers this 2-0 lead here in the third. There's a pitch on the outside corner. It's a called strike.
Abel De Los Santos, quick delivery to the plate, and he gets the ball. He wants to throw it immediately. 5 games in Cincinnati last year, a couple of games in Washington, the big leagues in 2015.
Fastball and curveball probably his best 2 pitches, although he will throw a slider and a changeup as well. So it's 2-2 here on Santana. Infield is spread out, backed up, 2 outs, and the 2-strike delivery. That one is hit well in the left field. Going back on it is Revere, and that one's going to go. So a big day underway for Domingo Santana. Been up twice with a pair of home runs, and the Brewers have a 3-0 lead.
Well, talking earlier about Santana and the way he's just not able to clear his hands, his hips, and all the backside as he first came up to the big leagues and pushed a lot of balls with some power the other way. Well, different story now as he's really gathering in putting everything together and what he means to get the barrel out there.
So Travis Shaw is the next hitter. And the first pitch on Travis Shaw. He's a left-handed batter. That one's taken for a strike. Domingo Santana, who's had the 2 home runs when he broke into the big leagues in 2014 with the Astros. First 13 times up, 0 for 13 with 11 strikeouts. Here's one ripped down the right side, and that is a fair ball. It's going to bounce down near the right field corner. Heading up to second base and easily beating the throw from Cole Calhoun will be Travis Shaw. So De Los Santos coming in this emergency role has given up a homer and now a double. And Hernan Perez will be the next batter. Third hit in the inning for Milwaukee. Perez hit into a double play against Matt Shoemaker to end the Milwaukee first. So the Brewers have the early lead today. Angels down 3-0. Here's the pitch, and that's on the outside corner. It's a called strike.
They're swinging the bats today, that's for sure. Also pretty selective. They forced Matt Shoemaker into a couple of walks, so they've had a couple of lineouts. A team that last year was 9th in batting in the National League, 9th in slugging, 7th in on-base percentage.
There's a pitch that's way outside.
And they'll be missing the big bat of Chris Carter. 41 home runs last year, 94 RBIs. But hoping these youngsters are getting a chance, and the additions they made are going to provide enough run support.
Here's the 1-1, and that's low, blocked there by Carlos Perez. 2-1.
Still haven't seen Ryan Braun, obviously, who was their big slugger. Had a good season last year.
Milwaukee Brewers a year ago, 73 wins, 89 losses. And they ended up in 4th place in the National League Central. They were 30.5 games behind the Cubs. And the pitch lifted in the air into center field. Going back on it is Trout. He's there waiting under straightaway center. He'll grab it, and the inning is over. But another run for Milwaukee. It came on the home run by Santana. They had 2 hits, no errors, and they leave the runner on. Bottom of the third is right around the corner. It's 3-0 Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Number 7, Cliff Pennington.
New pitcher for Milwaukee, their second pitcher of the day. Jimmy Nelson will take over. Starting pitcher for them a year ago. Nelson Lost 16 games last year. He was 8-16 with an ERA of 4.62. He is a big right-hander. And he's ready. Here's the first pitch on Cliff Pennington. He takes it for ball one.
He is big. He's got stuff, Terry, and he is looking forward to this clean slate start all over again.
The guy with a good power sinker. When he's going right, he's going to get a lot of ground balls. He's had trouble with his mechanics in the past, and as a result, some command issues. He walked 86 batters last year.
And you say that. Look at the mechanics now, how much simpler they are. Almost look like he's throwing from the stretch like we saw Bud Norris recently.
Yep. There's a pop-up foul on the third base side, chasing the running out of room are Perez and Arcia, the left side of the infield. So 2-1 is the count on Cliff Pennington. 3-0 Milwaukee as the Angels bat in the bottom of the third. Nelson a year ago, 179 1/3 innings. And here's the next pitch. That's fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. And the count 2-2. The starter, Junior Guerra, he ended up retiring 6 of the 7 he faced. Did not allow any hits or runs in his 2 innings. Walked 1, struck out 1. Nelson taking some time between pitches. Here's the 2-2 on Pennington, and he got him looking, struck him out. Pennington thought it might have been a little bit low, but he's retired. That's the first out here in the third.
It's a good start here for what big man on the mound needed, Jimmy Nelson. You talk about the power sinker, the finish, the simple adjustment to the mechanics. I also see a guy that's able to stay on the rubber a little bit taller and then use all that momentum going forward with good finish out in front.
So the Angels' 9-hole hitter is at the plate, and that is Caleb Cowart.
You're seeing more and more of this, Terry, with a lot of pitchers just starting as if they're throwing from the stretch, but as part of the windup now. Some just taking a short step back as they start their delivery. And some take a step forward. Bud Norris, who we're supposed to see a little bit later today. We'll compare notes on him and what he does with his feet to begin his delivery.
Here's the next pitch, and that's right in there for a called strike. 1-1 on Cowart, one of 3 switch hitters in the Angels lineup today. Here's Nelson's next pitch. That's hit hard and just foul on the first base side. It almost got a piece of the umpire, Adrian Johnson.
He's ready. He's got the light feet going. Always good to visit with our friend umpires before the games, and as they try to tell us, Terry, also that they're being introduced into the explanation of these new rules that were modified and announced yesterday.
Yeah, we saw AJ before the ball game. Fun guy, and the pitch that's lined into right field. Camping under and dropping the ball is Santana, the right fielder. Moving up to second is Cowart. He better hurry, and he gets there safely. Well, Domingo Santana's had a good day with the bat, not so good with the glove right there.
It's always been an issue also with Domingo Santana. It's not the sun, it's not the wind. Balls hit very well. And the way he starts and that ball coming back at him, just a little too nonchalant for me. I know that ball's going to have a little bit more effect. The downward spin as it got to him.
Yeah, he wasn't sure kind of which way to turn the glove on that one. That ball ended up right around his stomach when he was trying to get it, and it hit off his glove. So that's a 2-base error. The Angels have a gift base runner here with 1 out, down by 3 runs. Cameron Maben at the plate, and the first pitch, he takes ball 1. Maben struck out against Guerra his first time up, now facing Jimmy Nelson. Right-hander against right-hander, next pitch. And it's a fastball up and in. 2-0 the count. Maben here in the early going of spring training seems to be fitting in with his new teammates.
And fitting in also in different spots in that lineup where Mike Scioscia wants to kind of tinker and see where he fits best.
There's a pickoff toss to second base. Coward gets back. Maben is leading off today with Escobar yet to rejoin the Angels. Yunel Escobar, the regular leadoff man.
He got to work out today with the ball club. Mike Scioscia had announced that. He'll worked out today. Got his BP in. Got some early work in with the drills, and he'll be in the lineup tomorrow.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is cut on and a foul tip. At the mid of the catcher. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Of course, in case he missed it, Yunel Escobar missed 2 games because 2 days of camp because went back to South Florida and eventually passed his test to become a U.S. citizen.
Next one on Maben. He tries to hold up on that one, and on the appeal they say he went around. So that'll even up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cole Calhoun will follow, and then Mike Trout. Angels trying to get something on the scoreboard, down 3-0 here in the third, and that pitch caught the outside corner, and Maben is called out on strikes, got him looking. So both outs in the inning on strikeouts looking for Nelson. You got Pennington, now Maben, and Cole Calhoun, the batter, with 2 away.
Well, as we were talking about that sinker ball, and a nice presenting job there by Jet Bandy, showing it to the umpire Quinn Walkup on the plate. A power sinker down in the zone. That's some extra life.
So Calhoun, who flied out to center back in the first inning, gets ready for at bat number 2 today. Left-handed hitter. Nelson ready, the big right-hander's pitch, and it's a sinker in there for a called strike. Angels have yet to get a hit, and last 3 games anyway, the Angels have been getting their share of hits, double figures in each of those games. There's a cut and a miss. 0-2 the count on Cole Calhoun.
As the Angels came into this game hitting close to .290 as a team with an on-base percentage over .350.
So Calhoun deep in the hole here at 0-2 against the sinker baller Jimmy Nelson. Next delivery, it's lifted in the air into right field. Going back on it is Santana. That ball's over his head, and the ball takes a bounce and hits off the wall. Coming in and scoring from second is Coward. At second with a 2-out RBI double, Calhoun. Angels' first run of the day. It's 3-1 Milwaukee.
That's another thing we've seen the Angels do so well here, either from the regular players as we see now, or from the youngsters coming in halfway through the game, is mistakes that the opponents have made on the defensive side, or pitchers issuing walks. They've been able to capitalize very quickly. They do here, capitalizing on the error by the right fielder Santana and the ball hit by Coward.
So here is Mike Trout, who walked his first time up. Run in the inning is unearned due to the error by the right fielder Santana. Ball had gotten loose. The reliever warming up down the left side. So Trout is back in there waiting the first pitch here from Jimmy Nelson. The Angels' first hit of the day, driving in a run, and the pitch, that one is inside on Trout. That came close to hitting him. 1 ball, no strikes.
So far this spring, Trout has not gone back to the dugout, right, Terry, after 1 at bat? He's always seen first base.
Yep.
plays the game loose, man. Just having a great time. What a great example and role model. He says he thrives on being a role model for kids.
Here's the pitch. This one is hit well into center field, but not all that deep, as it turns out, off the end of the bat. Under is Broxton. He'll put it away, and that will end the inning. So Trout retired for the first time so far in Cactus League play. The Angels will leave Calhoun at second, but a run in the inning. And as we head to the fourth, it's 3-1 Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Now pitching for your Angels, number 37, Andrew Bailey.
Fans, don't forget, join the Angels April 7th and 8th for opening weekend. The Angels will take on the Milwaukee, or I should say the Seattle Mariners, that series. The opening weekend at the Big A. Fans in attendance will receive a wall calendar courtesy of U.S. Bank while supplies last. For more info, visit angels.com/promotions. Neuenhuis will be the first batter for the Brewers here. They lead it 3-1 as we start the fourth inning, and the Angels have another pitcher. This is only the fourth inning, but this is the fourth Angel pitcher of the day. Andrew Bailey getting ready for his first appearance this spring.
Well, there's a program set up before the game starts, and all throughout the spring, as Bike Social likes to say, things are mapped out, Terry. And Bailey needed to come in now after De Los Santos.
So his first pitch, Neuenhuis, he cuts it that one, fouls it off on the left side out of play.
So let's see, Terry, how things end up getting mapped out from here on for Houston Street.
Yeah,
we're hoping for the best for him.
Yet to get any word yet as to why he left the game with some sort of an injury-related issue. And here's the pitch. That is a called strike. Bailey was with the Phillies and the Angels last season. With the Angels in 12 games, he had 6 saves and a 2.38 ERA. His numbers were not nearly as good for Philadelphia. ERA was over 6 with the Phillies last year when the Angels picked him up.
As Bailey kept saying throughout the month of September, happy to be here. Loves working with Charles Nagy. Wasted no time when he tested free agency ever so briefly and signed quickly with the Angels. And Terry, he says he is fully healthy again.
Here's the pitch, and that is a called third strike. Neuenhuis taking, and he is out looking for the first out. So Bailey off to a good start. Jet Bandy, who Andrew Bailey is familiar with, former battery mate, will be the next batter for the Brewers. Bailey has had a lot of right shoulder problems, missed nearly 2 full seasons, 2013 and 2014, because of shoulder problems. He's had shoulder surgery. He's also had the Tommy John right elbow surgery. Mentioned he had those 6 saves for the Angels last year in the 12 appearances, and he was a perfect 6 for 6 in save opportunities.
Yes, he was.
No blown saves.
Gave the Indians a lot of hope and somebody they can count on coming into 2017. And who knows? The need might be more urgent now.
Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball lifted into shallow left center field. Trout is tracking it, and he will make the grab on that one. Not deep at all in left center. Bandy is retired. And Jesus will be the next batter.
Well, the more Ron Renicky can see how things play out between Trout and his new partners to his right, Revere, today. But you'll see a lot of Revere, who's also a natural center fielder, a lot of Maybin. But Mike Trout, right when that ball left the bat, absolutely took control of it, and you didn't see Revere try to take it away. With that experience he has, he understands what a center fielder needs to do, and the routes being taken to catch a baseball.
The Jesus batting with 2 outs, no one on. 3-1 Milwaukee in the 4th. The pitch in there. Calling all Angel fans and runners, join us on April the 22nd for the Angels 5K and Family Fun Run. It's presented by St. Joseph Hoag Health. Participants get a t-shirt, a medal, and a ticket voucher for a select 2017 home game. Proceeds benefit the Angels Baseball Foundation. And on the next one to DeJesus, he hits one into right center. It's going to drop in for a 2-out hit. His first hit of the day.
He's hit the ball on the nose. He also lined out against Matt Shoemaker, and a sharp hit ball to second baseman Espinosa.
Arcia, the next batter. A shortstop for Milwaukee, batting 9th. Struck out his first time up. Bailey's pitch, and that's right in there for a called strike. Andrew Bailey will go with the sinking fastball. He has a cutter he'll use, also a changeup. Pitch for the A's, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Phillies, and now the Angels. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count.
As you mentioned, he had a rough go in Philadelphia last year. 33 games and 32 1/3 innings. 15 walks. ERA 6.40. And then he found it with the Angels. 11 1/3 innings. Only 2 walks. ERA of 2.38.
And the next delivery, that one a little bit outside. Well, other than his stint with the Phillies, he was an American League pitcher. Yeah, maybe a little bit more familiar with hitters in the AL.
As Mike Scioscia says, when his stuff is on, the ball comes out really hot, and it is always moving.
Bailey's been an all-star a couple of times, former Rookie of the Year in the American League when he was with the Oakland A's. Toss over to first. The runner gets back. It's DeJesus Jr. Had only 3 stolen bases last year and over 100 games with Cincinnati. So he's the runner at first, and there's a check swing. Ball fouled off by Arcia back to the screen.
That's one of those fastballs you were talking about. Ball coming out hot. A little additional movement up in the zone and into the hitter, Arcia.
So Bailey has a 2-2 count here. He's thrown 12 pitches in the inning. Matt Shoemaker started the game. Houston Street left after 11 pitches with an apparent injury issue. We've seen Abel De Los Santos and now Andrew Bailey. And again, he tosses over to first. The runner gets back. Brewers have out hit the Angels 6-1, and they lead it 3-1. Here's the next pitch. Runner goes. Pitch is high. Throw down to second, and the ball skips off the glove of Espinosa trying to get the tag on, and it also got a piece of the runner going into second base to Jesus. So
yes, it did.
Like it might have got him around the helmet. So they're going to have to attend to him.
Quick release there by Carlos. This ball started tailing into the runner. Espinosa As he's approaching second base, sets his feet, but that ball just keep going in, and Espinosa was behind the runner and trying to receive it when it got him in the neck area. So De Jesus, needless to say, is a little shaken up.
Yeah, it looked like the ball hit the helmet down around kind of the ear flap area near the neck, and that's where they're checking him. But yeah, that'll shake you up, no doubt.
So if they're around that area, got to be extra careful now with the
concussion
protocol immediately takes effect here.
Kind of get the feeling De Jesus would like to stay in the ball game. He's got a big smile on his face right now. Maybe the athletic trainer said, I want to know what your name is or something like that. I mean, they go through a little program there whenever there's a concern of any type of concussion. So he is going to stay in the ball game.
And let's say, Terry, it's pretty much a newly implemented protocol with that, just to make sure athletic trainers, medical staff understand what players need to say and do and respond to. They make the decision to leave them on the field.
So it's a full count with 2 outs, and the payoff, it's fouled back just to our right out of play. Three balls, 2 strikes. 4th inning here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Brewers got a pair of first inning runs. They've been on top ever since. And here's the pitch, and that is ball 4. That was high. So Arce is on.
Some gestures over on the Angels side of the staff with Bailey and Charles Nagy on to just stay back, stay on top of the rubber. At times Bailey will be the first one to tell you, sometimes just a lot of rushing. My arm does not catch up with my body. Thus the ball starts sailing up in the zone. Very simple things to point to that eventually you catch on and make the quick adjustments.
So the batter is Broxton, and the first pitch to him, he takes it for ball 1. You watch Broxton get set in the batter's box, and he really holds the bat down around his waist area. The hands are way down.
He's a kid that really came into his own second half of the season after he got sent down. He was a different player, and part of that, Terry, was the adjustment with his batting stance, with his hands, his load up, and allowing the game to come to him a little bit more. Great athlete, just trying to force things sometimes. Got into trouble.
Next pitch, a big cut and a miss at that one. So a couple of strikes on him, 1 and 2. He was originally in the Pirates system. Came over to Milwaukee. And he got off to a very slow start, as Jose mentioned, with the Brewers last year. 0 for his first 16 with the 11 strikeouts in those 16 at-bats. They sent him back to the minors, and there he swings and misses that one. Got him on strikes, and that's how the inning will end. So a pair of strikeouts for Andrew Bailey in his first inning this spring. They threatened but failed to score, and we're headed now to the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-1 Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels will bat. Bottom of the fourth we go. 3-1 Milwaukee. C.J. Cron will be the first batter, and he will be facing a new Brewers pitcher, Carlos Torres. We saw him in the Cactus League opener between these two teams on Saturday. Setup man for Milwaukee. So Torres replaces Jimmy Nelson, who worked last inning, the bottom of the third. He allowed a hit, a run. It was unearned, and he had 2 strikeouts. Here's the first one on Cron. Called strike on the outside corner. 0-1 the count. Carlos Torres, veteran right-hander, and the next delivery, it's popped in the air down the right side. It's tight to the line, and that is a fair ball. Getting to it now is Santana. By the time the right fielder fires the second, the throw is late, and at second base with an opposite field leadoff double is C.J. Cron.
All stranger C.J. Cron to having good springs, and here he is at it again, Terry. Hits the ball everywhere and seems very calm, does not chase as many pitches. Obviously, he's facing guys that are not on top of their game yet, but I think overall we saw so much growth out of him last year when he was on a torrid streak. Remember that memorable game in Boston, huh?
Yep. Well, C.J. Cron is in familiar territory. He grew up in the Phoenix area, lives in Phoenix in the offseason. So he's at second. Angels have a runner in scoring position for Danny Espinosa, and here's the pitch. That's high and away. 1-0 is the count on the Angels second baseman, who hit the ball hard his first time up, but lined it right to Villar, the Milwaukee second baseman.
Cron had a stretch of 2 games against the Red Sox. July 1st and 2nd, he had 3 home runs and 9 RBI.
Bluffing a toss to second is Carlos Perez. He was a pretty good acquisition last year for the Milwaukee Brewers. They signed him in April of last year.
Very valuable guy.
And then he ended up pitching in 72 games. ERA was sub-3. And he worked 82-plus innings in relief and ended up being their setup man. There's a little pop in his shallow left field that Nieuwenhuis will come in on and make the grab, and Espinosa is an easy out. That's the first out here in the bottom of the fourth.
It's one of those guys that adds a lot to your pitching staff. Can pitch a variety of roles. Will take the baseball. And nothing fancy about delivery or anything like that, but he understands the importance of setting up hitters and finishing off. But mainly, he is blessed with a rubber arm.
So here's Ben Revere with Cron at second, 1 out. We'll check out some Cactus League and Grapefruit League action. Cubs are trailing the Reds 7-0. That game is in the 5th inning. Cubs have yet to get a hit in that ball game. Rockies up on the Indians 10-0. That's in the top of the 4th. Dodgers trailing the Royals 6-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pitch was in there on Revere for a strike in the 6th inning. A's have a 2-0 lead against the Giants. 5th inning, Rangers up 3-2 on Seattle. The Dodgers are playing split squad action today. Their other club is trailing the D-backs 7-0 in the bottom of the 4th. It's a pitch that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. White Sox and Padres will play under the lights in the Florida Grapefruit League. Pirates over the Orioles 5-2. Red Sox beat the Braves 9-1. Rays over the Tigers 5-2. Twins beat the Phillies 4-3. Nationals with a split squad day, and they split their 2 ball games. Washington lost to the Cardinals in 10 innings 2-1, but beat the Marlins 8-5. Blue Jays beat the Yankees 3-2, and the Mets all over the Astros today. The final was 11-3 New York. So 2-1 is the count here on Ben Revere. He swings late at that pitch and lines it right over the Brewers dugout over there. Hopefully everybody's okay. About 3 or 4 rows back.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was paying attention and ready with their gloves too. Angels fans are always ready. And always ready to share the baseball too, along with the Brewers fans.
And what a sudden the lights went out on the scoreboard, but we have them back on right now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the next pitch. It's a little bit low on Ben Revere.
Revere happy to have his swing back without having to hold back after suffering the torn oblique in the beginning of last season. Just did not allow him to get back to what he does best: put the ball in play, make contact, and hit for a high average.
Payoff pitch, and he's going to pop that one into right center field for a base hit. Cron will just move up 1 base, and the Angels will have him at the corner. So Ben Revere, who's been swinging a good bat here in Cactus League play, gets his first hit today. And the batter will be Carlos Perez.
There it is again. Nothing fancy. Use those hands. Shoot through the infield. Stay out of the air. And that's how Ben Revere has made a nice career. .285 career average.
So Carlos Perez is taking a close look at things from Ron Renneke, who's flashing the signs down from the third base coaching area. Carlos is a good bunter.
So I don't know where you're going with this. Yeah. And the Angels were working on this play a lot a couple of days ago, which is the possibility of a safety squeeze.
C.J. Cron isn't the swiftest base runner over there at third base. He's the lead runner. We'll see if anything's on. And the pitch, no sign of it there. Swinging and fouling that one back is Perez for strike 1.
Carlos eager to get some consistent playing time and make the most out of it. He knows he was disappointed with what happened last year offensively, where he actually took a step back from the previous season.
Perez hit just .209 last year for the Angels, and he'd like that average higher, that's for sure. The pitch a little bit low and away. 1-1 with Pennington waiting on deck. Bottom part of the Angels batting order now. The 7-hole hitter Perez at the plate. Here's the next pitch, and that is a called strike. So it's 1-2.
Quinn Wilcott behind the plate, umpire, youngster, done a very fine job, pretty consistent on the zone for both sides.
So 1-2 the count, and a toss over to first. Revere gets back tomorrow. Angels and White Sox from Camelback Ranch. Tyler Skaggs, his first spring outing, and he'll be opposed by a new pitcher in the White Sox system, Lucas Giolito, who can really throw.
Yeah, he was in the news as part of many discussions this offseason.
He's a guy who's thrown in triple digits, right-hander. Pitch on its way. That's fouled off on the right side. The White Sox made a lot of moves in the offseason.
There's talk of perhaps still looking for another bat. To complement Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera and company.
Of course, the White Sox certainly playing second fiddle to the Cubs now in Chicago, and they like to create a little buzz, but they've had 4 straight losing seasons.
And keep in mind, they have a recent championship now too. They went via the Angels in 2005.
Yep. 2-2 is the count. Carlos Perez is the batter. Angels trying to get something on the board. There goes Revere. The ball's grounded to short. Breaking for the plate. Scoring on that one is going to be Cron on the ground out. The throw to first will get Perez. But he'll get an RBI on it. Angels will take that. And now it's a 3-2 Milwaukee lead.
Little run and hit action there. Revere, pretty decent jump. Make sure that ball is going to be delivered home. And Carlos, the ability to roll over, put the ball in play, puts the Angels on the board.
So Cliff Pennington will be the next batter. A hit here with the speedy Revere at second base could tie up the ball game. Pennington struck out his first time up. That was against the reliever Jimmy Nelson last inning. Torres, the reliever for Milwaukee, their third pitcher of the day, delivers, and there's a ground ball through on the right side for a base hit. Revere is going to be waved home. Santana's throw from right field is nowhere close to home plate. So that's going to be an RBI hit for Pennington. Angels get another 2-out run, and this game is tied at 3. Boy, if the Angels can do what we've seen so far in the early Cactus League play with 2 outs, that would be exciting.
That would be, and it's also very hurtful to the opposition. Because you think you're on the verge of closing down an inning, and then all of a sudden you see pesky hitters continue to put the ball in play, fight off good pitches, and drive in some big runs.
On the throw to the plate by Santana, and the throw was really outside of the batter's circle. That's how far off line it was from right field.
Yeah, he's still not the finished product in right field as we've seen so far in his fielding and throwing here today.
Pennington was able to get up to second base, the hitter for the Angels who got the RBI hit, and he got up there without even a throw. So he's in scoring position with 2 outs, and Caleb Coward, base hit, could give the Angels the lead. Coward reached on an error. His first time up on a ball that was misplayed by Santana, that right fielder we were just alluding to.
Coward with the Angels last year, 31 games, 85 at-bats, had a home run, 8 RBIs, 23 strikeouts, hit 176.
Two balls, no strikes on the switch hitter Caleb Coward. There's been a time in the past in his pro career where he stopped switch hitting, but he's doing that again.
To him, it's a plus. But it's time now. Put it all together on a consistent basis in terms of just making contact more often.
Here's the 2-0. And he takes that one low and inside. Coward is still a young guy. He's 24 years old. But the Angels have kind of been waiting on him. You're just kind of wondering where his pro career is going to go, if he's going to elevate it, or if he's going to be a guy where, you know, it just never played out for him in the Angels system. Former first-round pick. There's one in there for a called strike.
I mean, openly speaking, by now he was supposed to be the Angels' third baseman.
Right.
Started 12 games at second base last year, 10 at third base, and even 1 at first base.
Here's the next delivery, and Coward takes that one for ball 4. So Torres is struggling out there. He has already faced 6 batters here in the inning, and it's not over yet. We'll turn it back to the top of the order. This would be a good spot for Maben to come through. 0 for 2 today, still looking for a hit in Cactus League play. Leadoff man in this ball game.
He's trying to find some rhythm, some timing. Now that he's going to get more at bats, hopefully that'll come for him.
Here's the first pitch on Maben, and he's looking, and that one is inside. And the catcher Jet Bandy's going to head out to the mound to have a word with his pitcher Carlos Torres.
Jet Bandy, many seasons in the backfields here at Tempe Diablo Stadium and the complex. Really made himself a respectable receiver with all the work he put in here in early camp. Camp Socia. Throughout the years in the minor leagues, his catching instructors, among them Jose Molina, obviously, Orlando Mercado, Mr. Latchman, who takes good care of the catchers and has been doing it for many years here with the Angels.
Oh yeah. There's one that's popped up foul on the right side. It's going to get back and out of play.
I see him latch with the gear on, though. Haven't seen him wear the gear that often here in the spring.
Usually, you always see him with the gear on.
Yeah.
It's like you wonder, does he go to bed with the gear on? That's all you ever see him wearing, the catcher's shin guards.
He's out there sitting outside the Angels dugout.
So 1 ball, 1 strike. And here's the next pitch, and that's a little bit low. 2-1 is the count. This has been a 25-pitch inning here for Torres.
The guy that today was supposed to be stretched out because there's nobody warming up in Milwaukee's bullpen.
Yeah, things quiet at the moment. The 2-1 delivery. Maben takes low, and it's 3-1. Cowart, the last batter, walked. Now 3-1 here on Maben. If he gets on, that will load him up. Calhoun's waiting on deck. He doubled in a run last inning. The Angels' first run of the game. It's a 3-3 ball game here, bottom of the fourth, and there is ball 4. That was low, nowhere close. So Cole Calhoun has a chance to impact things here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Well, that's something. And the type of bat that really came part of the game for Cameron Maben last year, 94 games with Detroit. He walked 36 times, on base percentage of .383. Well, certainly why Mike Scioscia wants to see where he better fits into the Angels lineup.
Villar, the second baseman, was out there talking to Carlos Perez, his pitcher. So here's Cole Calhoun.
Yeah, Torres has been scuffling. Not very often is he this scattered in the zone.
First pitch on Cole. He takes that one high for a ball. Torres nearing 30 pitches here in the inning. Last 3 Angel batters have all reached base safely with 2 outs. Bases jammed. 2 runs in. The pitch outside. Misses again. 2-0 the count. And now the Brewers will begin to get some action in their bullpen. With the next pitch being the 30th of this inning here for Torres. Here it comes on Cole Calhoun. He drives one deep down the right side, but it's way foul. He was all over that pitch right there. So just a long strike on the Arizona native, Cole Calhoun. They play Calhoun to pull. They have 3 infielders on the right side. The next pitch, he swings through that one. And that'll even up the count. 2-2 on him.
Very interesting alignment they have, because infield, as you mentioned, with the shift and to pull. Outfield, especially center field, shaded to the opposite side on Cole Calhoun. Big gap between right and center field.
So it's a 2-2 count. Next delivery, chopped foul right over where the Angels coaches are seated outside the dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This alignment, of course, all dictated by spray charts. When a guy rolls over, the guy hits ground balls. Where are the majority of those balls going? When a guy hits fly balls, again, majority. And that's how you decide where to play. And also a lot has to do with who's on the mound, and as we've seen with the Brewers, what the count is.
Here's the delivery, and Calhoun cracks his bat, lifts a fly ball in the right field. It's been an adventure for Santana out there, but he makes the catch on that one. And that's how the inning went. The Angels do get a pair, sent 8 to the plate here in the bottom of the fourth to tie things up. The Angels in the inning had 3 hits, a couple of walks, but do leave the bases loaded. Headed to the 5th. It's a new ball game, tied at 3 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels go to the bullpen once again as we get ready for inning number 5 in this game. It's a 3-3 game. Brewers had a 3-0 lead at one point today, but the Angels come back to tie it. Bud Norris will take over for Andrew Bailey. Bailey worked last inning, the 4th inning, and along the way gave up a hit, no runs. Walked 1, struck out 2. So Bud Norris getting set for his 2nd appearance this spring. He's a non-roster player, signed a minor league deal with the Angels, and we'll see how things go for Bud Norris here as he faces the Brewers.
Second time around for Bud Norris. First time out, he says he was a little amped up. Ended up having a few control issues, but eventually settled down and showed that arm that is really amped up now to the mid-90s, and the cut fastball is back for him.
So Villar is the batter, and he had an awkward looking swing at that pitch. Kind of looked like he was thinking about bunting, and then he took a full swing at it and kind of spun around chasing it for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike.
A couple times we don't think Villar really knows what he wants to do at times.
He's looked a little confused at the plate today, indeed. And the next pitch, he was moving his feet as that one was coming in. He takes it for a ball.
I think the pitch before, he was trying to bunt it over the first baseman's head, Terry. I believe that's what I saw from here.
So Bud Norris, who did start a ball game, 2nd game this spring for the Angels, on the mound, and there's one that's chopped foul over on the right side. That got a piece of Villar, and
the adventure continues. Yeah. Always going to hurt. And he's got protection everywhere. Shin, foot, and of course the ball's going to fly. But there's no protection. It's just the name of the game.
The right foot area, and he's up and hobbling around at the moment. And the start that Bud Norris had on Sunday, that was against Oakland, he did pitch scoreless baseball. Although he hit a batter and walked a batter, he went an inning and 2/3, did not allow any hits or runs, had a pair of strikeouts. And they're still going to see if Villar's okay.
Well, they took their time to go out there, knowing that, of course, the majority of the times these will just sting for a little bit and go away, but Villar just kept rolling on the ground, and still, for a guy that runs, obviously, is the main concern. Anything related to his feet or his legs.
Had a few players get shaken up in this ball game. The Jesus on that stolen base last inning. Houston Street has left today's ball game for the Angels.
Still awaiting news on Houston.
He threw only 11 pitches today when he came in, the first Angel reliever of the day. Villar appears to be okay. He'll continue his at bat. The count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the next pitch, that's low.
No, they throw something near his feet. How about that? Yep.
So 2-2 the count.
He's had the swinging bunt towards the right side. Ball off his foot. Ball near his feet.
So Norris is set, and the 2-2, and that's a little bit low. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Full count on Villar, and the 3-2. He pops it up foul. It's going to get back to the seats and out of play. So the count holding on the Brewers' second baseman, Jonathan Villar.
And Villar was playing winter ball back for Águilas in the Dominican Republic, and the team was doing well and so forth and rolling in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the call came, Terry, to zip him. Get him off the field. The Brewers said, no mas.
No more.
A lot of disappointed fans.
And on the next delivery on the 3-2, that one's going to miss for ball 4, so he ends up getting a walk, and it looks like they might be, I was thinking they were going to bring in a pinch runner for him. I believe they are. Villar's unaware of that. There's a guy right behind.
How about that?
He's like, who's following me here?
Yeah. So a pinch runner has checked in, and his name is Nate Orf. O-R-F. The spelling of the last name, minor league player with the Brewers. There's a pitch that misses a little bit low on Domingo Santana for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Nate Orf really wanted to get into this game. Boy, he was shading Jonathan Villar as he's walking down the line.
Villar ended up going 1 for 2 today. And the next delivery, that one is taken outside ball 2, 2-0.
Norris used to sinker ball to get a big double play last time out. Could use it right here.
There's the pitch. That's cut and a miss by Santana. Domingo Santana's had a good afternoon. He's driven in all 3 Milwaukee runs, 2-run homer in the first. His last time up in the third, he hit a solo homer. So it's now 2 balls, 1 strike on the right-handed batter. Here's the next pitch. He drills this one into center field. Trout has a beat on it, and now the ball is over his head. Boy, it looked like Mike Trout might have had a little trouble with that one. At second base is Santana with a double. The other base runner, Orf, the pinch runner, ends up at third. Well, usually when something's out there around Mike Trout, it's caught, but that time Trout might have had a little bit of a misread on that one.
He did. The gray skies, tough to see the ball at times when it's sunny or when it's just in between and you can't find it. Mike Trout certainly, it looks like he had a little bit of trouble finding the baseball halfway on his trajectory. But even Orf, as he was running and trying to get towards second base, was quite sure because of Mike Trout's body language that it was going to be an easy catch.
Yeah, he would have scored easily, as it turned out, because it ended up going over Trout's head. And there's a pitch in there for a called strike.
And there is another hard hit ball by Domingo Santana, who's had a good game with the bat. A little shaky with the glove, but nonetheless, he's been swinging it.
He's had 10 total bases already in this game. We're only in the 5th inning. Here's the next pitch, and that's pitch high, popped off the mid of Perez, but no advancement by the runner at third. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Something you and I noticed before the game today, the amount of scouts here today.
Yeah, not absolutely sure why that is. We always have a lot of scouts at these spring training games, but yeah, more than normal today.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe a guy like Bud Norris, whose pitching could be a player some other teams are looking at. No guarantee he's going to make the Angels opening day roster. Here's a pop-up foul behind the plate. It's playable, and Carlos Perez behind the batter's circle to make the catch on it. So Shaw is retired. It's the first time the Angels have gotten him today. Still runners at second and third. That's the first out in the inning, and Hernan Perez, the next batter.
Also with the scouts, obviously, as more regular players are now making their way into the lineups and pitchers their ways to the mound. More of the advanced issues start to come out. And it's good to see all the evaluators, many of them former players.
So the Angels have the infield in. 3-3 game here in the 5th inning. Brewers are threatening runners at second and third, 1 out. Bud Norris in his first inning of relief delivers, and that's right in there for a called strike. Good pitch. 0-1. Neuenhuis waits on deck. Left-handed batter. Here's the next delivery, and this one is chopped to short. It's stopped by Pennington, fires to the plate. Waiting with the tag, applying it is Carlos Perez, and gunned down is the base runner Orf trying to score. Angels cut down a run at the plate. Still a 3-3 game, fielder's choice.
Oh, good to see the experience paying off here with Cliff Pennington. He knows he's going on contact from third base, gets a great angle, and has to make a decision very quickly as to not get set by throw on the run. And he fires a strike to Carlos Perez, quickly applying that tag.
Nice play by Penny out there at short.
Yes, it was. As the Angels defended first and third here a couple of days ago. Infield in, infield halfway, and there's one that pays off quickly.
So at the play now is Nieuwenhuis. Kind of strange to see Santana still at second base. He did not advance to third on that ground ball. After Pennington went to the plate, Santana just hung around second. So that play really worked out for the Angels, cutting down a runner at the plate, and the other base runner didn't move up.
You have to always know what the guy in front of you is doing.
Here's the next delivery. That one is low. 2-0 on Nieuwenhuis.
The only thing that could have stopped Santana from going to third, Terry, as you mentioned, yes, is just a quick glimpse from Pennington on a differently hit ball. But Pennington had no time to look, and of course Santana's got to be quite aware of the runner in front of him.
And now the Angels are going to go out to the mound and take a look at Bud Norris. So there's some concern.
Yeah, he's
might be a blister
on his hand. Yeah.
So Norris is getting checked out. Yeah, it definitely looks like a concern about maybe a possible finger blister here. And I think he's going to have to leave the ball game as well. So one of the umpires signaled to the bullpen, and Norris will leave. So the Angels have had two relief pitchers leave today's ball game. This one apparently a finger blister, as far as Bud Norris being forced to leave the game. So we are going to have another pitching change for the Angels. The sixth pitcher of the day will be coming in, and we're only in the fifth inning. A break in the action. When we get back, Milwaukee is still batting. It's a 3-3 ball game here in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
When the LA Kings
now pitching for your Angels, number 67, Greg Mahle.
Greg Mahle is the new Angel pitcher, and he will get as much time as he feels he needs to get loose. Another emergency pitching change for the Angels. Seen Mahle briefly this spring. Bud Norris ended up going 2/3 of an inning, allowing a hit. And as far as the two base runners, they're his property. He walked one, did not strike out any. While we have a chance, we want to remind you can join the Angels all season long and enjoy post-game Saturday night fireworks shows presented by Wells Fargo. For more info on Saturday night fireworks, visit angels.com/promotions. So the left-hander Greg Mahle, who made his major league debut last season with the Angels, ended up pitching in 24 games for the Halos, had a 1-0 record in relief, 5.40 ERA from Westminster High School and UC Santa Barbara.
And Mahle really came into his own last spring. He was the talk of the spring. Doing 12 games, Terry, 1.46 ERA, and came very close to making the ball club. He worked 12 and 1/3 innings last spring. Struck out 8, walked only 3. And that was a team high in 12 games. Eventually, as you mentioned, got to the big leagues and found out how tough it is when you don't get lefties out in the big leagues.
Mahle has a brother, Tyler, who is a pitcher in the Reds organization, and the Angels will face the Reds next week.
Well, I like his attitude. He comes in and works hard. He's lost some weight. See him working even near the parking lot against the wall. This new exercise and throwing program that he has. Maybe go out there and show that he wants to be part of this group.
So he comes in and takes over now for Bud Norris. Angels still have 4 other pitchers on the board here today, and there's always a possibility you could have someone come up from minor league camp as well. So Mahle, pitcher number 6 of the day, delivers, and the pitch is fouled off by the left-handed hitting Nieuwenhuis.
Well, Mahle's splits tell you the story as to why the Angels have to send him down against left-handers. You have more at-bats against him. Left-handers hit 333 against Mahle. Right-handers hit 294.
Mahle coming in with the count 2 balls and no strikes. It's now 2-1. If Nieuwenhuis ended up walking here, that walk would go against Bud Norris. Angels infield is backed up. Pennington playing not too far behind the second base area, and there's a foul tip, and it's now a 2-2 count. This ball game here today featuring some injury issues for both sides.
Hopefully nothing serious.
That's right. There's one fouled back.
Of course, concerning mainly is Houston Street's exit after 11 pitches here today.
Mahle would like to see this inning end right here against this batter, Nieuwenhuis. And here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's low and away, and now it is 3-2. Jet Bandy would be up next. Mike Trout is slated to lead off the bottom of the inning for the Angels. So a full count here as Mahle is looking in to get the sign from Perez. He is ready, and let's see what happens. 3-2 pitch. It's a pop in a shallow center field. Going back on it is Pennington, the shortstop, and he will make the grab, and the inning is over. It wasn't very deep at all in center. So in the inning, the Brewers threatened to score, but the Angels able to get him out. As the Angels get set to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning in a 3-3 ball game, Jabba Chamberlain will take over. He's trying to win a spot in the bullpen for the Brewers this season. So he replaces Carlos Torres, who worked the bottom of the 4th against the Angels. He had to face 8 batters to get the 3 outs. He gave up 3 hits, 2 runs earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts in 1 inning of work. So Chamberlain, who we saw last week on Saturday in the Cactus League opener, will face the Angels again here this afternoon. And we do have a number of changes right now for Milwaukee defensively, so we will run all those down for you. First delivery on Mike Trout. That one is a pitch that is in there for strike 1. Chamberlain ready. Here's the next delivery, and that is called strike. So it's 0-2 on Mike Trout.
Java working a pretty nice pitch in there on the break-in pitch on Mike Trout. I'm shaking his hand.
0-2 is the count. And here's the next pitch, and Trout is out looking. Struck him out. That was a tough at bat right there for Mike. Went down on 3 pitches.
Over to Java Chamberlain, attacking the zone, showing 3 different pitches, speeds, and locations to Mike Trout. The inner half, a little cut fastball. Getting Mike Trout quite surprised on that one.
So the batter is C.J. Cron, who's had a 1-for-2 day. Understand that Houston Street left today's ball game with right tricep irritation, and he will have an MRI later on today. So here's the next delivery, and Cron is taking, and that one on C.J. Cron evens up the count. The tricep in layman terms is kind of the back of the arm. His pitching arm, right arm.
Goes from the side to the back of your biceps. And let's hope it's just irritation and just getting the kinks out here in spring training. Regardless, it'll be a cautious approach from here on.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about that. Who knows the next time we'll see Street work here in Cactus League play, because all the injuries he had last season were not arm related. 2-2 is the count. Chamberlain facing C.J. Cron after striking out Trout leading off the inning, and on the appeal on that pitch they say that C.J. Cron was holding. The new first baseman in the game for Milwaukee is Garrett Cooper. He wears number 99. Nate Orf has stayed in the ball game. He is the second baseman. Here's the next pitch, and Cron lifts one in the air to straightaway center field, circling under and making the catch. That one out there in center field is Lewis Brinson, who has taken over for Keenan Broxton. So center fielder.
Even though Terry Cron misses this one, that was a swing program for the breaking ball. I'm glad he saw the way that Chamberlain attacked Trout, and he said, I'm going to see it again. I'm going to see a breaking ball. He stayed right with it, just could not really time it well. As Jala threw it just a little bit too hard. That disrupted his timing.
Here's the next delivery. This is Espinosa at the plate. He pops the ball up on the third base side, and near his dugout, dropping the baseball, is the third baseman. So no out on that one. Should have been the end of the inning, and that's Nick Noonan, who is now the new third baseman. Just came in the ball game for Hernan Perez, and Noonan, well, you will get an error on that one.
That was a tough way to break in.
The Brewers have a whole new look in their outfield right now. Mentioned Brinson is in center field. Lewis Brinson. The new right fielder is Brett Phillips in right. And they have a new left fielder in the ball game, and that is Michael Reed. Two outs here in the Angels' fifth inning in a 3-3 game. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Next pitch, and Chamberlain misses with that one.
Well, Danny Espinosa. So this is what Danny Espinosa is going to look like, Terry. See right field, see the board? No beard?
That's the clean-shaven Danny Espinosa look. Yeah. New shortstop in the game for Milwaukee as well. And taking over at short is Mauricio Dubon. And there's a pitch in there for a strike. Chamberlain is ready. 13 pitches for him in the inning. He misses high with that one on Espinosa, so it's a full count. 3-2. Looks like Jet Bandy is still in the game behind the plate for the visitors. But other than Bandy, it looks like just about everybody else has been taken out as far as their starters. Full count here, and the 3-2 delivery, and that one misses low and inside, and that is a 2-out walk. So Espinosa is aboard.
Well, as Ron Renicky alluded to after our game yesterday in our interview, he's got guys like Revere, Maben, Espinosa that want to run. Terry even mentioned Luis Valbuena. Said, hey, if you can help me out, give me some things I can work on, and I'll try to steal some bags myself.
So here's Ben Revere. He can run, and he's been on base once today. Scored a run for the Angels, 1 for 2. Here's the pitch, and that's right in there for a called strike.
And having somebody like Revere, when this happens more often here in the regular season, we don't know how many times we're going to see Revere hitting Espinosa at first base, but Revere has a great understanding on what it takes when you have to work together with somebody trying to steal a base, especially in key situations. As a batter.
Chamberlain's next pitch, and that's outside. Jabba Chamberlain has always been a pretty slow worker. He will take his time between pitches.
Jabba's in no hurry. You know that since his Yankee days. I think it was even slower when he became a starter.
Yeah.
Out of Nebraska.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that one is chopped on the first base side. That is a fair ball right at the first baseman, and stopped by Cooper. He goes to the bag just a foot away from it, and that's how the inning will end. Not a whole lot going on for the Angels here in the fifth. The sixth inning is coming up, and we are tied at 3 in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Daniel Wright is the new pitcher for the Angels, so he replaces Greg Malley. Malley got the only batter he faced. He retired Neuenhuis last inning. So the Angels have been using a lot of pitchers, and already as we get ready for the 6th inning, Wright is pitcher number 7 of the day. So Jet Bandy will be the first batter he faces. And Bandy is one of the lone remaining starters in the lineup here for the Brewers. Bandy's had a 0-for-1 day. Milwaukee's also flied out. First pitch from Wright, and that one is ball 1.
Daniel Wright claimed off waivers from Cincinnati in early September with the Angels.
Here's the next pitch. This is lifted in the air into left field, circling under, and making the grab on that one is Ben Revere. Routine play, 1 gone.
Center fielder, number 75,
Lewis Brinson is going to bat. This is his first time up. They have him in the 8 hole. That was originally occupied by their first baseman, DeJesus. Daniel Wright saw some action for the Angels at the early part of the Cactus League. He was actually in Sunday's game 2 of the Cactus League for the Angels, and worked 2 innings in relief, gave up 3 hits, a run, didn't walk, and he struck out 3. That was against the Oakland A's. There's the next pitch, and there's one that's hit on a high hop to third. Nice stop there by Cowart, and he will throw to first base and takes that hit away from Brinson. That was nicely done by Caleb Cowart.
Lewis Brinson, number 1 prospect for the Milwaukee Brewers. Robbed by Caleb Cowart. But looking forward to seeing this play being made here all spring. We know Caleb Cowart has the strongest arm of any Angels third baseman. He can put it on a line from foul territory, but he throws a lot of strikes.
Brett Phillips is the batter, swings from the left side. He's their new right fielder, and this is his first at bat of the day. 3 runs, 7 hits for Milwaukee. The Angels 3 runs on 4 hits, each team with 1 error so far. Two balls, no strikes, the count. And Wright's next pitch, that one misses low.
Wright did a good job last time out. He started spinning the ball a lot when he was missing with that command, then went back to the fastball and regained confidence. Good locations, just like that one. They're 3-0.
Pitch in there on Phillips. He was taking. It's 3-1. Brewers have some action in their bullpen, so probably job at Chamberlain's day is done. He faced the Angels last inning. There's a swing and a miss by Phillips, so that'll run the count full, 3-2. Right, a pretty quick worker, and his payoff delivery lifted in the air down the left field side. That one's down in that left field corner. Chasing hard is Revere, can't make the catch. Ball hits off the wall, going into second and stopping there with a 2-out double. Going the opposite way is Phillips, so he's aboard to keep the Milwaukee inning alive.
That ball was just out of the reach of Ben Revere. That ball slicing off the left-handed bat, and Revere, who was playing pretty much a straight up a long run. At first it looked like he was not going to have a chance to come even close to that, but with that good speed was able to close that gap very quickly.
So the batter is Michael Reed. This will be his first at bat. He's come in to take over in right field for Milwaukee.
What we saw there too, Terry, is one of the biggest adjustments that you go through when you become a corner outfielder after playing center field the majority of the time, is the fact that there's a wall in foul territory that you must get used to. Not all that free reign you have in center field going side to side.
First pitch on Reed was a ball. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. One of their minor league players here today, and he takes that one on the outside corner, and that is a called strike. Reed was a fifth-round pick of Milwaukee back in 2011. He did play in 8 games for the Brewers last year. Had only 22 at-bats, 4 hits, hit 182. And the 1-1 pitch, that's high on him. Right-handed batter.
Now they're hoping, Terry, that this minor league system will get revamped, refueled. Obviously, in their market, there's some limitations, and hoping that some of these guys, like Broxton did last year, get the most out of Ayar, Santana, Bandy, whom they acquired, will go out there and become established winning baseball players, and anticipating a good career for Lewis Brinson, who they're counting on.
3-1 is the count here on Reed. And the next pitch, he checks on that on the appeal. They say he was holding. It's ball 4. So Wright has walked the batter now with 2 outs. Runners at first and second. And Nate Orf, who came in as a pinch runner and stayed in the game to play second base, will now get ready to bat for the first time. Right-handed hitter Nate Orf. He's one of their minor league players here today, and the pitch that's taken for a called strike. Kind of a hazy, overcast day today here in Tempe, and the next pitch that's lifted in the air into left field. Chasing after it and making the running catch is Ben Revere. That will end the inning. Orf hit it pretty hard, but it was caught out there by Revere. So in the inning, no runs. They had 1 hit, 1 walk, no errors. They leave a couple. That's 8 stranded here for Milwaukee in their 6th innings. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 3 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Couple of changes for Milwaukee as we head to the bottom of the 6th in a 3-3 ball game. New battery for the Brewers. So Michael Blasek will take over on the mound. And they have a new catcher in the ball game. His name is Dustin Houle. Blasek, we saw him last Saturday when the Angels opened up the Cactus League against the Brewers, and Blasek pitched a scoreless inning in that ball game. First pitch here on Carlos Perez. That's in there for strike. 0-1 the count. Chaba Chamberlain faced the Angels last inning, pitched a scoreless inning with a walk and a strikeout. And here's Perez lining one over the third baseman's glove and threw into left field. Sharply hit leadoff single for the Angels catcher. The bottom of the 6th inning today. It's being brought to you by our friends at Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet is pursuing excellence every day. Visit them at rotolo.com. That's rotolo.com.
There's one that's going to feel good for the rest of the sprint for Carlos Perez, as he has altered his approach and loading system now with a higher leg kick and trying to be stronger in his finish too with 2 hands. That ball sounded really nice off of his bat.
Lasik is set. The right-hander delivers. At the plate is Pennington, and he takes that one for ball 1. Lasik was in 41 games last year for Milwaukee. He had some elbow and forearm problems last year. Had a 3-1 record in relief with a 5.66 ERA. He's a ground ball pitcher, has a good sinking fastball. And there goes Perez, the pitch. There's a ground ball base hit. Beautiful job of hitting and running, and the Angels will have him at the corners as Pennington has another hit, his 2nd of the day. Boy, that was a thing of beauty right there, that hit-run single.
Yes, it was. Anytime the hit and run becomes a hit, it's always a plus. Priority number 1 is to hit that ball on the ground. And Pennington himself does a very good job in getting that ball between 1st and 2nd. Angels put on 3 hit and runs yesterday. They all failed. Well, Mike's just going to keep putting pressure on the opponents, and a nice combination with Pennington and Perez, and it pays off.
So here's Coward at the plate. He's been on base twice, but no hits. He's reached on an error. He's also walked down the pitch. He takes a called strike. The Angels have never led in this game, but threatening to go on top. Runners at 1st and 3rd. Nobody out here. A 3-3 game in the bottom of the 6th. Angels trying to win their 7th in a row this spring. And the pitch. That's nubbed foul off the end of the bat. So 0-2 on Coward.
Seen a better approach, as Mike Scioscia has attested to, from Caleb Cowart, as he starts now with that bat flat on his shoulder. Trying not to be as rigid to begin his motion back to load up and to keep that barrel in the zone longer. So far, he's made some good passes at the baseball in the spring.
Here's the 0-2, and this is lifted in the air down the left field side. It's a foul ball. Chasing but running out of room is Noonan, the 3rd baseman. Well, tomorrow, and the Angels have done this for a long time, they invite former players back into camp as what they're called guest instructors, if you will. Tomorrow, our old buddy Clyde Wright's going to be here in camp for a few days.
Oh, he's going to have some stories.
It'll be good to see him.
Always does.
And I'm sure he can impart some wisdom to some of the Angel pitchers.
And a few jokes in that clubhouse.
Yep.
Great to be around, Clyde.
And the pitch, that one's fouled off. Earlier this spring, we've seen Bobby Goods here, former Angel. Shiggy Hasegawa was here. Scott Shields was here.
We were talking about the Arbor Arm and Torres with Milwaukee. How about Scotty Shields?
Yep.
And how often he took the baseball.
What was that story about Shields in college? He threw like 200 pitches in one game?
Yes.
In one game.
One game. Again.
That is a rubber arm right there.
Not the biggest of bodies either.
Yeah.
Thin guy.
Here's the 0-2. And that is a called 3rd strike. Coward thought it was a little bit low, but he's rung up by the home plate umpire, Quinn Walcott.
Who has been calling that pitch all afternoon long.
So Cam Maben will be the next batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Wally Joyner's also going to be in Angel camp this spring. That'll be later on. Follow Clyde Wright a few days after Clyde leaves. And David Eckstein will be in Angel camp as well as a guest instructor. Always good to see Eck.
Absolutely. Oh, the Angels extended an invitation again like they did last year, Terry, to Vladimir Guerrero, who was not going to be able to attend due to attending to some issues back in the Dominican Republic. But Vladdy Always thankful. Came so close.
He
to
did.
becoming a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, almost a first ballot guy.
Yes.
He's going to get in. I don't think there's any question about that. He just didn't get in the first time he was eligible.
Very happy to see his son progressing so well with the Toronto organization. Top prospect.
Yeah.
Little Vladdy Jr., whom we saw
When he was just a youngster.
with that helmet bigger than he was, swinging the bat out in that dugout.
Yeah.
Like in 04, 05, 06.
No balls and 1 strike to count.
Vladdy Jr. now a third baseman.
Here's the next pitch, and that's fouled back behind the plate. Well, you mentioned former Angel Vlad Guerrero, and he's an entrepreneur, Jose, back in the Dominican Republic.
Vladdy has many interests scattered around town. See construction companies, trucking companies,
Still have the grocery store.
right? Tilapia farm.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is low.
Got to try some of those tilapias, let me tell you.
Have them ship some in, Jose.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're really good.
I know you like to grill. You could put a few on the grill for us.
Nice and easy.
Just get them sent here to spring training.
We'll find a way.
All right.
Vladdy's very generous. So is Vladdy's mom through the years. Ask Mike Scioscia about the food. He'll tell you.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes here on Maben. A pickoff toss over to first. Diving back to the bag goes the base runner Pennington. Angels have had a pair of hits against Blasek here in this inning. He's struck out a batter as well. They've been trying to hang in with 2 strikes. He's already struck out twice today. And here's the next pitch, and that is a fastball high. 2-2. If you're enjoying the action today, wherever you're tuning in, whether it be on the Angels Baseball Radio Network or Fox Sports West, Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer-engineer Jorge Sevilla with you here from Tempe Diablo Stadium. The Angels will be at Camelback Ranch tomorrow to take on the White Sox. Here's the next pitch. That's lined into left field, and it's going to be caught, though, by Reed. Tagging at third, coming home and scoring on that one will be the Angels runner Carlos Perez. Boy, had the new catcher Dustin Rule held on to that throw, they would have got Perez.
Great job by Cameron Maben. We saw how well he was choking up there, Terry. Cut off another inch on the bat, smoked the ball. And Carlos, of course, first reaction, line drive is I'm going to score, but put on the brakes, retrieve, go back and tag. And as you mentioned, if the throw is caught cleanly, he is out.
Yeah, that had him beaten by a lot, actually, that throw to the plate. That's a very good throw by the left fielder, Michael Reed.
That's another example of continuing to put the pressure on. And that run manufactured by Mike Scioscia and his players on that initial hit and run play.
So it looks like they're going to give Maben a sac fly on that one, although that could have been scored in error on the catcher. But the Angels take it in any case and have their first lead of the day. It's 4-3 Halos. Cole Calhoun batting. First pitch was a ball on him. And here's the next delivery. Pennington's on the move. Pitch a ball. Throw down to second. And Penny's out. Well, the catcher tries to redeem himself there with a strong throw up to second. Pennington is gunned down on the caught stealing to end the inning. But the Angels get a run and 2 hits. In the inning, no errors. And in the inning, nobody left. The 7th is next. Angels up 4-3 against Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels make a lot of changes defensively as we enter the top of the 7th inning. The pitcher is still Daniel Wright. He worked last inning. We'll pick up the rest of the changes for you in just a moment. The Angels have a whole new look in the infield, and things have changed up as well in the outfield for the Angels. Next delivery evens up the count. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch that's fouled off on the left side. This is Mauricio Dubon batting for the first time for Milwaukee. Came into the ball game to play shortstop, and he's hitting out of Domingo Santana's spot in the batting order. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Matt Thaiss is the new Angel first baseman. The second baseman is David Fletcher. The third baseman is Sherman Johnson. And the shortstop is Nolan Fontana.
Preying on the youngsters. They've done a fine job here in the spring.
In the outfield, Eric Young Jr. is in left. Michael Hermosillo is in center. And Shane Robinson's in right. Next pitch. It's popped up foul on the right side, backing out of play. Want to remind Angel fans, if you have a group of 20 or more interested in experiencing Angels baseball, receive group pricing as low as $8 per seat. Call 714-4-ANGELS or visit angels.com/groups for more details. Here's the next delivery, and that one is lifted foul down the right side, backing out of play. Looks like Milwaukee has one of their catchers, Andrew Susac, waiting on deck to pinch hit for Travis Shaw, the DH. Here's the next delivery. It's a bouncer out to the new Angel shortstop. Fielding it is Fontana. His throw to Thaiss in time. And Dubon is retired. That's out number 1 here in the 7th. So Susac is the batter. Susac in the minors last year hit .254. And the first pitch to him, he's taking that one. That one misses for a ball.
He's got plenty of experience, so he's one of the guys Jet Bandy's battling with behind the plate.
Spent a little bit of time with Milwaukee last year, hit .235 in 9 games, and they acquired him from the Giants, did the Brewers, in July of last season. Known as a good catch and throw guy. Here's the next pitch. This one is chopped to short. Another chance for Fontana, and his throw, it's dropped by Thaiss at first base. An error all the way on the new Angel first baseman. Popped right out of his glove.
Yeah, there's something you don't see very often. First baseman receiving a throw above the belt and not able to handle it or catch it cleanly. Yes, Thaiss making the transition, finding it out. It's not easy. Day by day, he keeps saying it's not that easy to make the transition from behind the plate to first base.
I don't think Fontana threw him a knuckleball over there, did he?
Hope not. Sometimes you're going to see some cutters and sliders and throw at first base, and that could be a little uncomfortable, especially if it's a new position for you.
Noonan is the batter here for the Brewers. This is his first time up. Left-handed hitter. And here's the next pitch. A lazy fly ball that's lifted into shallow right field. Shane Robinson is going to have it drop in front of him. He never really broke in as fast as he needed to there, and that's going to be a bloop hit. So a little bit of bad luck here in this inning for Daniel Wright. With any luck at all, this inning could be over. Instead, runners at first and second, 1 out.
Robinson just came into the game. He was playing fairly deep, and a ball hit off the end of the batter for a big swing. Perhaps first step was to freeze or to go back, and that's pretty much where it allowed that ball to drop in front of him by a lot.
So here is Garrett Cooper batting for the first time. He is a right-handed batter. He came in to take over at first base, and he takes that pitch that's in there for a strike. Here's the next delivery, and it's lifted foul in the air down the right side. That one's going to get back and out of play. Garrett Cooper, minor league player, making the travel squad here today to face the Angels. Next delivery, he takes that one a little bit high, so the count 1-2. The Angels nursing a 4-3 lead here in the 7th inning. Milwaukee, they've had a lot of base runners today. They've already left 8 on base, and they have 2 more on base right now. Two balls and 2 strikes to count. Right is set, and here comes the 2-2. That's fouled off on the right side, backing out of play. Today's attendance here at Tempe Diablo Stadium, 4,687, 4687. Here's the 2-2, and that one is inside, so it's a full count. Angels infield playing it backed up at double play depth. The Angels have not turned to double play today. Could use one right here, trying to hold on to this slim 1-run lead. See what happens. Payoff delivery. This is chopped to short. It's fielded by Fontana, second for 1, but no relay. So on the play, Susac moves to third. The batter Cooper at first on the fielder's choice, and the Angels erase Noonan at second base on the fielder's choice. 2 outs in the inning. And now the catcher stepping up, Dustin Houle, will be the batter. Spells his last name Houle. He is a right-handed hitter. Another one of their minor league players in the lineup now for Milwaukee, and he swings at the first pitch. It's a fly ball to right field. Robinson chasing, and he can't make the catch. The ball hit off his glove out there near the warning track, and they will end up getting a run in on that one, and 2 are going to score with 2 outs. So boy, oh boy, this has been a tough luck inning here for Daniel Wright.
Well, you're not kidding. There's another ball that should have been caught. Robinson seemed like he had a good pace on it, took the right angle, and all of a sudden the ball pops out, just like it did on Matt Thaiss at first base.
So 5-4 Milwaukee. Scoreboard has it 4-4, but they just scored 2 runs on that ball that wasn't caught out there in deep right center field. And the first pitch here on Brinson in there for a strike. So the Brewers have gotten some gifts here in this inning to regain the lead. Here's the pitch, cut and a miss. 0-2 the count.
That's added a lot of pitches to Daniel Wright, who stands at 39.
Second error in the inning for the Angels, and boy, oh boy, that one by Robinson really costly. Here's the next delivery, and that's a swing and a miss. He chased the breaking ball there, struck him out, and that will end the inning. So Brinson is retired, but Milwaukee gets a couple of gift runs here in the 7th to regain the lead. 2 runs in the inning. They had only 1 hit, 2 Angel errors in the inning, and 1 runner left on base. We are headed to the bottom of the 7th inning stretch time. Milwaukee back on top 5-4 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So the Angels will be batting in just a moment as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 5-4 Milwaukee, and the Brewers have another pitching change here as they brought in Taylor Youngman to take over for Michael Blasek. Blasek faced the Angels in the bottom of the 6th, gave up 2 hits and an earned run. He also had 1 strikeout. So Youngman is on the hill, and the first pitch, this is Sherman Johnson batting, and he takes that one for ball 1. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Pitch on Johnson evens up the count. It's 1-1 on Sherman, batting for the first time today. He's hitting out of Cole Calhoun's number 2 spot, and there's a fastball to miss, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Angels defense has hurt the club today. 3 errors in this ball game, and there's ball 3. It's 3-1. Here's the next pitch on Johnson. He cuts at that one and misses it. Sherman Johnson batting from the left side. Mentioned he's hitting out of Cole Calhoun's spot. Calhoun went 1 for 3 with an RBI double today. And the next delivery, this is popped on the left side. That's going to land back in the seats and out of play. Eric Young Jr. waiting on deck. He's hitting out of Mike Trout's spot. Trout was 0 for 2. Somebody finally got Trout out in the Cactus League.
Gaba Chamberlain really pitched him tough when he struck him out.
He did. And the next delivery, it's fouled back behind the plate. So it's a full count, 3-2. Youngman is a big guy. He gets the sign from his catcher, and we'll see what happens on the payoff delivery. It's on its way, and it's popped foul again on the left side. That's backing out of play. Taylor Youngman goes 6-6. He is a former first-round pick of Milwaukee back in 2011, and last season appeared in 8 games, made 6 starts for the Brewers. Here's the next pitch, and that is a called 3rd strike. He gets Johnson looking. 1 away. Brewers pitching today. 6 strikeouts in this game. And here is Eric Young Jr. getting ready for his first at bat. Young, a switch hitter from the left side. He digs in here against Youngman. Here's the pitch, and that's off speed. It misses. You look at Taylor Youngman, and you would think he'd be a guy that is going to throw some real hard stuff against you, but he's not all that overpowering. He's a guy that kind of pitches to contact. There's a swinging bunt by Young, and he fouls that one off. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yes, he is, Terry. He's one of those guys that because he is so tall, he lands on the far side of the mound on the third base side. But, you know, in perceived velocity, maybe that 88, 89 looks like 91, 92 to the hitter because of his size and where he's coming from.
He's ready. Here's the next pitch, and that's a little bit high.
So a fastball there. Do you think maybe it didn't register in the upper 90s or mid 90s? But because of the way he releases, where he lands, he's right on top of you. So perceived velocity is a little bit different.
There's a 2-1 pitch that is a little bit low. It's now 3-1.
Looks like a guy that's really hard to pick up the baseball out of. No defined window.
And the next delivery on the 3-1, that's outside, ball 4. So the Angels have a base runner. Tying run is on over there at first base. Shane Robinson will be the next batter. He's hitting out a Cron's spot. Cron was 1 for 3.
The Angels have been running, came into this game having stolen 8 bases in 6 games. Also came into the game, Terry, having been thrown out 7 times. So 15 attempts overall.
And that coming in just the first 6 games. So let's see what Robinson can do. He had the tough play out in right field on the ball that skipped off his glove. There goes Young. He's running. Throw to second is nowhere close, and that'll be a stolen base. So now the Angels have the tying run, potential tying run at second base with 1 out. The count 0-1 on Shane Robinson.
Great job by Eric Young Jr. Continues to impress coming off the bench. He's started a couple of games. Applying that speed. A guy that not long ago led the National League in stolen bases.
Here's the next delivery, and that's a breaking pitch that misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brewers have their infield backed up. The second baseman Orf is not too far away from the bag, with the right-handed hitting Shane Robinson at the plate. Orf is trying to keep Eric Young as close to second as he can, but Young is getting a good-sized lead, real good lead. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ground ball through on the left side for a base hit. Young is going to be waved home. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's going to be close, and safe is Eric Young. Just got in. That time the catcher, Roll, held on to the baseball, and that was bang, bang, but safe at the plate is Young. It's an RBI hit for Shane Robinson. He has to feel good about that after the defensive miscue in the top of the inning, and now the Angels have tied up the game at 5.
Hey, pretty much a lesson and pretty much what you want to see out of a guy that's a spark for you. Out of the bench or playing, and Eric Young Jr. drawing the walk, wasting no time, stealing second now, making it easy for Ron Roenicke to send him home. You were talking, Terry, about this secondary lead, and even though it was a bang-bang play, also a lesson in sliding through the plate.
Yeah, that was a good job of base running by a good base runner. That's always been one of the strengths of Eric Young Jr.'s game.
Just like Pops.
Yeah. So we'll see if Shane Robinson might be on the move. He's the base runner over there at first. Just got the RBI single to tie up the game.
Well, the Angels' last couple of runs all because of the running game, including that hit and run, beautifully executed by Pennington with Carlos Perez at first base. Terry, if it's there, use it, because speed never goes into slumps. Speed never slumps.
That's right.
You have to get on first, though.
Well, and you have to have some speed. A lot of guys don't have the speed to make things happen on the bases. Here's the pitch. This is chopped towards the left side. It's handled by Noonan, the third baseman. His throw will be in time to get David Fletcher, who was just batting for the first time when after that pitch in. Grounds out on the play. Robinson moves up to second. And Matt Thaiss will be the next batter. Thaiss would like to come through here. This is his first at bat today. He had an error in the top of the inning, which factored into the Brewers at the time taking the lead.
Yeah, we've seen him put together some solid at bats. Very consistent. That front shoulder stays down. Flat bat over his shoulder.
Left-handed hitter digs in and takes the first pitch low for a ball.
It's a good matchup here with two good colleges, Terry. Virginia at home plate and University of Texas in Youngman, who had a college career that was absolutely brilliant. 32-9 with a 1.85 ERA in 3 seasons with the Longhorns.
Came in with an off-speed pitch there, missed outside. 2-0. Base hit could give the Angels the lead back. The Angels have been scoring runs lately in this ball game. The Angels got one in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, a run in the 6th, 1 here in the 7th. It's a 2-1 count now on Theis.
Which means Taylor Youngman play for a very good friend of mine and a great mentor in baseball, Augie Garrido.
That's right. There's one chopped on the left side, stopped by the shortstop, Dubon, and his throw is in time. And that's how the inning will end. So the Angels settle for the tying run here in the bottom of the 7th. We're headed to the 8th in a 5-5 game here in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Used to
Angels have a new battery. The new pitcher is Drew Gagno, and the new Angel catcher is Francisco Arcia. So that's it as far as the moves. Gagno has completed his warm-up tosses, and he is getting close to getting ready to take over here for the Angels as we head to the 8th inning. Brett Phillips will be the first batter to face Gagno.
Well, Gagno is one that we had to make sure we ask on the pronunciation, because if we see the spelling, nowhere near it.
Yep. Last name is spelled Gagnon. And the pitch is low. Gagno used to be in the Brewers system. The Angels acquired him from Milwaukee in December. And he will throw a fastball top out around 94. Good curveball. He'll throw a cutter and a change. And the pitch, that's fouled off on the left side out of play. Likes to use that curveball against right-handed hitters, and he'll throw that cutter to lefty batters. He's facing one here, and Brett Phillips, who just fouled the pitch off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gagno pitched at Long Beach State, went to Liberty High School in Brentwood. And the next delivery, it's fouled off on the left side out of play.
The Gagno family is around here because when he was introduced by the PA, there was a huge section of fans standing up and welcoming him onto the mound. Special moment for the young man.
Pitched in Double-A and Triple-A last year in the Milwaukee system at a 3-1 record, 4.48 ERA. And the pitch, that's popped in the air down the left field side. Long run for Young, also chasing his Sherman Johnson, the third baseman. And boy, Johnson goes flying over that little side wall there, trying to make a catch on that one. Real good effort by him, but was out of his reach.
That's the way to play the game. Full effort all the way, just momentum going, and thankfully there's a padded area there. He lands at first.
Yeah, there wasn't any patting where that head landed on the concrete over that little side wall, but he's okay. Here's the 1-2. That's low. 2-2 the count. Phillips batting. He batted for the first time in the game in the 6th inning and doubled. And here's the next pitch. He cuts at that one and misses that pitch. Struck him out. Well, Gagno might know some of these batters he's facing. It would certainly figure to be the case.
Looks like some of those batters know him, so hopefully he comes up ahead and has the edge.
So Michael Reed will be stepping up. Right-handed batter. And the first delivery, that one he takes for a ball. The count's 1 ball, no strikes. After the ball game, we'll get some post-game comments. And there's a pitch in there for a called strike. Today, after the game, Jose, you are planning to chat with
Angels hitting coach Dave Hansen.
There you go.
He's got to be pretty pleased on what he's seen so far from the Angels hitters.
There's the next delivery, and that is a little bit low for ball.
Interesting how hitting coaches will tell you, I want guys to dial in. So it's not going to be all at once when it comes. So it kind of goes in phases. Where you are in spring training, how well you're seeing the ball, how well you're striking the ball. And then the bell rings, and that hitting coach wants you to be as ready as you can to start competing against some upper-class pitching. And, of course, under the lights, which is another adjustment players have to go through.
Yeah, the Angels will not have any night games here in Cactus League play in Arizona. Three balls and 2 strikes is the count on the batter Michael Reed. Since he came into the ball game, he's had 1 at bat, and that was a walk back in the top of the 6th inning. So Gagno is ready, and here's the payoff delivery. This is chopped to short, should be an out. Fontana has it. His throw to first, handled by Theis, and that's the second out. 6-3 on the ground out while we have a chance. Before the next batter, Nate Orf, gets ready to bat. Let's run down what's been going on around the Cactus League and Grapefruit League. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rockies are leading the Indians today 16-5. Dodgers split squad is in action against the Diamondbacks, and that game is in the 9th inning. It's 15-3. Arizona leading the Dodgers. Here's a pitch taken for a ball. The other Dodgers split squad, they were beaten by the Royals today 7-2. A's beat the Giants 6-1. Rangers over the Mariners 8-2. Here's the pitch, and that is a strike. Later on tonight, Padres will host the White Sox. Angels will face the White Sox tomorrow. And in action in the Florida Grapefruit League, Pirates beat the Orioles 5-2. The Red Sox over the Braves 9-1. Next delivery, a little bit low. Rays a 5-2 winner against the Tigers. Twins beat the Phillies 4-3. Nationals had a split squad day. They won a game against the Marlins 8-5, lost a game to the Cardinals in 10 innings 2-1 as the pitch is fouled off. And the other finals in Florida today, Blue Jays beat the Yankees 3-2. Mets all over the Astros 11-3. And one other game in Cactus League play, the Reds doubled up the Cubs today 8-4. Cubs have gone just 2-5 so far in the Cactus League.
And it won't matter, right? You don't win championships here in the Cactus League.
That's right. Here's the pitch. That's fouled off on the right side, back and out of play. About the only thing you can win is a job on the opening day roster.
That's for sure.
And there's always some surprises for the various teams as far as some guys that might not have been on the radar screen, or if they were, they weren't real heavily thought of to make a opening day major league club, and some of them do.
You need more than 25. That's one thing that everybody knows. It takes more than 25 to win a championship.
Worf just fouled off another pitch, so he's battling pretty good here against Drew Gagnon. 8th inning, a 5-5 game, Angels and Milwaukee.
As we were talking about the Cubs, take the Cubs for example, Terry, the dominant year they had, 103 wins. So it took them 11 starting pitchers to do that.
Yeah. Pitch was low for ball 3, so now it's a full count. Next pitch will be Gagnon's 20th here in the inning.
Angels used 15 starting pitchers. Toronto, the luxury, along with the Giants, they used 7 starters. How about that?
Yeah. Well, it's lucky if you can get through a season that way. And on the 3-2 delivery, here's a check swing, and they say that Orf held up, so that's ball 4. 2-out walk. Dubon will be the next batter. 6 walks given up today by Angels pitching.
Toronto had Happ, Stroman, Sanchez, Dickey, and Estrada. 3 of them made over 30 starts, and the other 2 made 29.
Here's the next pitch, and it's a pop-up foul on the right side. That's going to get back and out of play.
And then beyond that, the only 2 starters to make outings for Toronto were Liriano and Hutchison. That's it.
And in the case of Liriano, he came in a trade.
That's right.
He was acquired right around the trading deadline.
It takes a lot of luck, of course, a lot of preparation, but things have to be going your way for you not to have to tap into your starting pitching depth in the minor leagues or trades or waivers in a long season.
Next delivery fouled off down the right side. That's going to get back and out of play.
So give our good buddy Johnny Gibbs a lot of credit for what they've done out there. And for a team that's known as, you know, sluggers and guys can bang the ball around, Toronto was tops in pitching in the American League last year.
So 2 outs, a runner on at first. Counts 0-2, a pickoff toss over to first, and the runner Orf gets back to the bag. Angels and White Sox tomorrow. Sunday, back here in Tempe, Angels and the Cincinnati Reds. And again, a toss over to first base. So Orf is back. Gagnon is paying attention to him. Two strikes to count. Gagnon is ready. And the next delivery, a little poke down the right field side. That ball's going to drop foul out of the reach of Shane Robinson. He was chasing after it, just couldn't quite get to it in time. So the count remains 0-2. Well, certainly the best player on this Milwaukee club. We haven't seen him in the first 2 meetings between the Angels and the Brewers. Ryan Braun had another 300 season a year ago.
Yes, he did.
SoCal native. And his name was on the rumor mill in the offseason as far as maybe being traded by Milwaukee. There's a pitch fouled back on the right side, out of play.
Even around the trading deadline last July, going into August, his name was floating around a lot.
Dodgers have been linked to him a little bit recent years, but he remains a Brewer. So the count is 0-2, long at bat here, and the next pitch, that's a breaking ball that misses outside.
Let's put number 25 here for Gagnon. He's been nibbling just a bit here the last couple of batters.
He's set. Next pitch. This is chopped out to short. Fontana's been busy since coming into the ball game. He'll flip to Fletcher. They'll force out Orf running the second, and the inning will end on the 6-4 fielder's choice. That'll do it here for Milwaukee. We're headed to the bottom of the 8th and a 5-5 game on the Angels. There's a new pitcher in the ball game here for the Brewers. Tyler Cravey is going to take over. And the first batter up for the Angels, batting for the first time in this ball game, is the Angel catcher who took over an inning ago, Francisco Arcia. And that pitch is in there for a called strike on him. 0-1 is the count. That's from the left side, and here's the pitch. This is chopped right to the first baseman. Cooper has it, and he will easily beat the left-handed hitting Arcia to the bag. Arcia was in the Marlins organization last year. Venezuela native. So one quick out, and Hermosillo will be the batter. This will be his first time up today. Tyler Cravey replacing Taylor Youngman, who worked last inning. He was touched for a run on a hit. Also had a walk and a strikeout. And here's the right-hander's 0-1 delivery. That one bounces in off the glove of the catcher, Wool. And the count even. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sure, we made the connection between Augie Garrido and Taylor Youngman when he was on the mound at the University of Texas, but also here. He's a legendary college coach, 25 years as a head coach. Pat Murphy is the bench coach for the Milwaukee Brewers. Murphy is actually the man that replaced Buddy Black on the interim tag with the San Diego Padres. And the story gets even better because legendary coach with Arizona State, with Notre Dame, and he managed Craig Counsell, who is now the Brewers manager, while at Notre Dame.
And now he's on Counsell's staff as the bench coach. And there's a pitch that Hermosillo tries to hold up on, went around, struck him out, and that will be out number 2. Fontana will be the batter. This is going to be his first time up. Cravey has retired the first 2 batters here. The bottom of the 8th inning. It's being Brought to you today by Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet, pursuing excellence every day. Visit them at rotolo.com. That's rotolo.com. Here's the pitch, and that's high and away. It misses for ball one. Here's the next pitch. That's hit sharply, but a foul ball.
Fredo.
Got a piece of Alfredo Griffin, the first base coach.
A little salsa dance out there, Fredo. Fredo was way comfortable on the bench last year, so he's like, there's a lot of action around here in traffic back at first base.
Here's the next one on Fontana. He bounces the ball softly to second. Should be an easy play to end the inning. It will be, and that'll do it. So Cravey retires the Angels 1-2-3. And we will hit to the ninth inning here in Tempe. It's anybody's ball game. 5-5 the score on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We go to the ninth inning, and the Angels have been averaging a pitcher an inning, so this is pitcher number 9 of the day. Kirby Yates is going to take over. We've seen him a little bit this spring, and he will get the baseball here in inning number 9. Yates spent time with the Yankees a year ago, 41 relief appearances for New York, 2-1 record, but the ERA was 5.23. Susac is the first batter that he is slated to face. Fans, we want to remind you, get your red on, become a season seat holder to enjoy exclusive benefits and the same seats all season long at the greatest value. Visit angels.com/season seats or call 714-4ANGELS for more information. Gagno, who pitched last inning for the Angels, a hitless, scoreless inning with a walk and a strikeout. Here's Yates' first pitch, and he's facing Susac, who swings and misses that one for strike one.
He's trying to get another 0 here and give the offense a chance in that bottom of the ninth. Something that we continue to see is more and more of the Angels pressuring opponents later in games. Hopefully it will happen here again.
There's another strike on Susac, fouling that one off. 0-2 the count. This has been a long ball game. We're right around the 3.5-hour mark as far as this one. And the pitch, that one is low and away. 1-2 the count.
Well, we've seen a few more walks. That's number one. A couple of injuries delayed the game more.
No doubt. Here's the next pitch from Yates, and that is a swing and a miss. He got him, struck him out. It's out number one. Kirby Yates, when he was with the Yankees last year, was a strikeout pitcher at 50 and 41 1/3 innings.
We have briefly mentioned with the umpires and now with the new rules and modifications for 2017. Among them, of course, ball four now, the intentional walk will just be a signal to take first base. 30-second limit for a manager to decide whether to challenge a play or invoke a replay review. And Mike Scioscia has some strong comments about that one, Terry.
He did.
Again, 30-second limit for a manager to decide whether to challenge a play or invoke replay review.
No balls and 1 strike is the count. And ready to work is Yates. Here's the next delivery that's fouled off on the left side. Well, one thing, if you look at the 2 coaches for the Brewers out there.
Whoa.
Aren't they supposed to be in the coaching boxes, Jose?
Not being stressed so far.
Nope. Neither one of them anywhere close to being in the coaching boxes.
Which is one of the new modifications. As soon as the ball's hit, they're free to leave the box.
Yep. Here's the delivery, and that's fouled off on the left side, backing out of play.
Also doing away with any markers on the field for positioning, as many teams started implementing at their home ballparks. All dictated by only one thing, Terry. Only one thing did that. The shifting.
Yep. There's one fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. It's 0-2 here on Noonan.
Not to say the guys didn't have natural markers in the past, but it became a norm to go out there and play a couple of things where you remind some guys, especially in the short right field area, as to where to be.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is low. Well, no matter whether or not you're going to have any markers out there where you want to have your defenders positioned or not, you'll be able to put them wherever you want, and all they have to do is look to the bench, and there'll be somebody either waving them more to the right or more to the left. Ultimately, if a team wants someone to play in a certain spot, they'll get them there. Here's the 1-2, and that's fouled off over by the Angels on deck circle. Brewers have 5 runs on 9 hits. They have left 10 on base. The Angels have 5 runs on 7 hits. The Angels have stranded 7. And again, if you missed it earlier, the first reliever of the day for the Angels, and that was, well, about 3 hours ago, Houston Street.
Yes, it was.
He left the game because of an injury. And there's a check swing by Noonan. He went around on that one, and he is a strikeout victim. So a pair to start off the inning for Yates. The injury to the Angels closer, Houston Street, that was in the 3rd inning. He threw only 11 pitches and left because of right tricep irritation, and we've been told he's going to have an MRI, and he might have already had it by now. Here's the pitch. That's fouled back behind the plate. 0-1 the count, so an arm issue today for Street, who of course missed so much time a year ago being on the disabled list with some leg related issues.
Yeah, we're hoping for the best of news under the circumstances for Houston.
There's one that's low and inside, 1-1.
He was quite determined to put all those things behind him.
Well, he had gotten together with a guy that was kind of a personal trainer over the years. He got together with him this past off season, and wouldn't you know it, first time he pitches in a game this spring, he gets hurt.
It's tough. Bud Norris, also, who came into the game in relief, had to leave because of a apparent blister
on one of the fingers of his pitching hand. There's a pitch inside on Garrett Cooper, and boy, that came close to hitting him. Cooper's a big guy. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. So Yates trying to make it a 1-2-3 inning. We haven't had too many of those today. Here's the next pitch, and that's low and outside. Angels pitching without any 1-2-3 innings in this ball game, and there haven't been a whole lot for Milwaukee pitching as well. And here's a little bloop into right field. That's going to drop in, so it's not going to be a 1-2-3 inning here in the ninth. 2-out single, and then a snap throw back to first base.
And Robinson.
So Robinson, who had the costly error in the 7th, has come back to get a big RBI hit in this game, and he makes a nice defensive play right there, catching the runner rounding first base, and they really got him just in time to place to end the inning. It'll be a single for the batter Cooper, but then out as he was late getting back to the bag. We are headed to the bottom of the ninth. We'll see what happens. It's a 5-5 game on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We go to the bottom of the ninth. There's a new pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. Tyler Sperlin will take over. And he is, well, let's see here, pitcher number 8 of the day for them. Last season in the minors, had a 1-1 record, ERA 3.12, appeared in 50 ball games. And he has a funky delivery. He's going to drop down and throw sidearm, and the first delivery on the Angel batter, this is Jack Kruger, who is going to pinch hit here to start things off in the bottom of the ninth. So he's hitting out of Cameron Maben's spot, and he pops one in the air in a shallow left field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. So a good way to start off the inning, a pinch hit single against the new reliever, and the Angels have the potential winning run on as Kruger gets a hit, and now he will be lifted, and the Angels will bring in a pinch runner for him. Matt Williams is going to pinch run. So Kruger is in the ball game for about a minute and a half, and he made an impact here. At the plate now for the Angels is Sherman Johnson. He was around the bunt, ends up taking the pitch for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. See how the Angels played here. Around the bunt is Johnson. He bunts it on the first base side. It's a fair ball. It's fielded by the first baseman. Cooper applies the tag on him about halfway between the plate and first base, right along the line. That's a good job. A sacrifice bunt. Moves Williams up to second. He represents the winning run. And Eric Young Jr. will be the next batter. Eric Young, since coming into the game, a walk, a stolen base, and he scored a run. So let's see what the Angels can do here. Angels have been winning games late in the action and have a chance to do it again here today. The pitch, that's a little bit low. It misses for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Tyler Sperlin is the new pitcher for Milwaukee. Here's the next pitch, and that one misses outside. Jose is headed downstairs. He will visit with Angels hitting coach Dave Hansen when the game is over. Get some of his thoughts on how things are progressing offensively so far in the first week of the Cactus League ball games. There's one fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. Sperlin, who's pitching, is a native of Texas, and he went to Rice University. He was not drafted coming out of college. Signed back in June of 2013. 5th pro season, and the pitch. And that one is a little bit high. It's fallen behind. 3 balls and 1 strike. Sperlin, all of his minor league appearances and his first 4 seasons in the minors coming as a reliever, but he really hasn't been a closer, more of a setup guy. There's a pitch that pops off the mid of the catcher, and that is going to be ball 4. Quickly retrieving it, the catcher Justin Rule. But the Angels now have 2 runners on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th in a 5-5 game. And here's Shane Robinson. Well, Robinson's day did not start off real well when he came into the ball game. He went back on a fly ball and ended up having it pop out of his glove, and they scored 2 runs on it. But since then, he's come back and he's had an RBI hit. Just had that fielding play that ended the top of the inning when he caught the runner rounding first base, and now base hit here could win this game. Here's the pitch on Robinson. That one misses high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Infield is playing it backed up. The outfield is very shallow, especially the right fielder and the center fielder. And here's the next delivery, and that one is high and outside. So it's 2 balls and no strikes. Understand that Bud Norris aggravated a blister on his right middle finger. That's what we figured. It was blister related. The reason he left today's ball game. Norris pitched in relief today, and he was the 4th reliever in the ball game for the Angels. So the 2-0 pitch missed on Robinson. Now it's a 3-0 count, and David Fletcher is waiting on deck. A run wins it here in the bottom of the 9th. The pitch, that's in there for a strike. Taking all the way was Robinson. 3-1 the count. Angels trying to make it 7 straight wins here in the Cactus League and have a chance to come away with a victory here in the bottom of the 9th. A 3-1 delivery, nowhere close. Ball 4, and now the bases are loaded. So runners everywhere with 1 out. Last 2 batters have walked. Angels also had the leadoff hit from Jack Kruger, the pinch hitter. And now a fly fly ball deep enough to the outfield, wins this ball game. David Fletcher is the hitter. Since coming in, he's grounded out his only time up. Outfield extremely shallow. They're about as shallow as you'll ever see a major league team play the outfield. The infield is in for the most part, and the first pitch is outside. And boy, the right-hander Sperlin is having trouble throwing strikes. 15 pitches in this inning. He's already walked the last 2, and he's fallen behind Fletcher here 1-0. And the next delivery, that's ripped on the left side. It's a fair ball, and it's a game winner. A walk-off RBI base hit by Fletcher, lined it right over the third base bag. And the Angels stay unbeaten with another late inning victory here in Arizona. A walk-off RBI hit for Fletcher, and the Angels come away with the win today by the final score of 6-5. So nice victory again for the Angels. You certainly aren't going to get tired of the way the Angels are playing here this spring. How much you can read into the one-loss record? Well, certainly you can debate that, but you'd rather win them than lose them. And the Angels have won all 7 that they've played so far here in the Cactus League. So the Angels win it today. 6 runs, 9 hits. The Angels had 3 errors in the ball game, and the Angels will end up leaving 10 runners on base. Milwaukee today, they had 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, and the Brewers end up leaving a total of 10. The winning pitcher for the Angels will be Kirby Yates, and the losing pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers today will be Tyler Sperlin, who ended up giving up the runs here in the bottom of the 9th inning, the winning run in the bottom of the 9th. Jose Mota standing by. Let's go down to Jose and Angels hitting coach Dave Hansen.
Thanks, Harry. Well, you said that hitting comes gradually, and where are these guys when it comes down to the approach and pitch selection right now?
I will tell you they're ahead of it. Implementing strike zone discipline can be tough, and I think they're ahead of the curve right now. I mean, it's one thing that we have to retrain every year is recognition of pitches, our rhythm, our timing, and I got to tell you, man, every day it seems like we're getting better and better. I think we're way ahead of schedule.
Talk about when the regular players are evaluated at this stage, and also when the youngsters are. How much does that differ?
Yeah, I tell you, that's a tough one, because obviously we want to have good at-bats all the time, but there is a process to those veteran guys being ready in April. So we got to monitor that. We got to make sure that at least they're progressing. They don't have to be locked in, but they need to be progressing. So we're watching those at-bats. You know, and then you got the young kids that are hungry, ready to go. I mean, they'll start the season right now. So that's kind of where the energy comes from. They're in every at-bat. They're doing a great job in our minor league system of developing that approach. And it's aggressive. It's energetic. And obviously, when you see us putting 5-6 guys up every inning, I mean, you're going, hey, holy cow, how many guys are they going to have on base all the time? Well, they're doing it. They're buying into it, and they're making it work. And it's really exciting to see those kids come in later in the game, you know?
You were a player, so you lived it as a player. Now, what is life like for a hitting coach in spring training?
Way more emotional. That's a great question. I tell you, it's hard to define, because as a player, you focus on yourself and seeing if you're progressing and making sure that you're healthy and making sure you're getting your work in. But I got to see that, 30 times over. And I've got to learn some new personalities. I got to build relationships quick. So that's an emotional roller coaster here in spring training, because we only have a short period of time to do that. And we have quite a few new guys. So I love it. I embrace that challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless. But I love it. It's an up and down thing that is really hard to define. Put it this way, I'm getting some good sleep at night.
Thanks so much. We'll continue this conversation perhaps on a TV pregame one day.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Thanks so much
for having me. Thank you very much.
Sure. Terry, he's happy. He's emotional, but you know what? The Angels get another win, and that's going to make him happier.
Absolutely. Dave Hansen, one of our favorites, and doing a great job here with the Angel hitters so far in Cactus League play. Well, the Angels come away with the victory here this afternoon, go to 7-0 with a 6-5 victory. All 7 of these wins have come by 2 runs or less so far here in the Cactus League. So a lot of close games, and always a good sign when you win those games, and that's just what the Angels are doing. For those of you watching on the TV side, Jose along with Alex Curry will be coming up with more post-game analysis on Angels Live. On the radio side, we'll have some more for you as well. Again, the final, the Angels over the Brewers 6-5. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.